Ooh, technical malfunctions everywhere. Hello, and welcome to Talk It Out, where we talk it out. I would like to welcome you to our very special New Year's Eve edition. They keep landing on holidays, which is a good sign. Okay, if you've never been to Talk It Out before, this is a forum where people of opposing views can get together and have a healthy, productive dialogue in a respectful way. Keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. Now, before we get into things and I introduce my very family, this is my Talk It Out family, all of these people. They've done at least 20 episodes each, it feels like. So before I introduce them, I want to remind you all to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, subscribe, girl. And I also want you to make sure you share the feed, okay? We're trying to grow the Talk It Out family here today. All right. So let's bring in our illustrious panel. This lady needs no introduction because she's just that. Okay. And one of my closest friends right now. I love her to death. She makes Talk It Out happen, running behind the scenes all day, every day. Miss Rakia. How are you doing, Rakia?
I'm good. I didn't expect to be first. Ooh.
I know, because I usually, but see, I'm ushering you. Listen. You run this show so well. Everything that y'all see popping up on screens and stuff like that, that's Rakia moving real quick.
I try.
Okay, so instead of introduction today, what we're going to do is we're going to have everyone who enters the panel, we're going to say what your New Year's resolution is. Just one, though, because I know we'd be having a list. So everybody backstage, go ahead and get ready. What's your New Year's resolution, Rakia?
Oh, gosh. Mine would just be mindfulness. I need to work on that. I need to work on some mindfulness. I started a little bit this year, but it's hard to, it's easy to get bogged down with one school and work gets going, and
right.
But how to do it consistently.
Okay, well, I like mindfulness, especially considering that we're in a place worldwide where we need to start thinking about more than ourselves. So that's great. All right, next to the panel is the songbird herself, Miss Alicia Faith. Hey.
My Faith.
Hey, y'all.
How are you?
I can't complain. I'm not going to complain. There we go.
Hey, it's a choice, though. What's your New Year's resolution?
I am going to give myself more grace.
Yes.
More grace. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Help me understand.
I beat myself up a lot about not accomplishing something, and now this pregnancy has really put me on my ASS. So I have to learn to give myself grace, and it's okay if I don't finish something, or it's okay if I don't do something right. The world still revolves.
And I really like that because I think we all beat up on ourselves a lot more than we should, especially performers. And there's already enough people beating up on us. So I like that very much. All right. Next up for the panel is Dollar herself, Miss Mo Smith Pro. Hey, Mo.
Hey, my bad. I was doing some research on Cyberpunk 77. This isn't geeking out, is it?
No.
oh, damn.
Is that your low-key way? She always does it. Is that your low-key way of being like, okay, I want to be on Geeking Out?
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
we tried to get you on a panel, but your schedule.
I know, a truck driver's life, man.
Right. We're gonna make it happen. What's your resolution?
Well, along with grace, I definitely more better nutrition, more fitness coming soon, you know what I'm saying? As I'm embarking on my 4th decade of life, I got to look towards the positive, and I know that I can't do the same things, the laziness and the, just eating anything like a 20-year-old anymore. So I got to do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? So
the after 30 problems.
Oh, yes.
All right. Anybody who's under 30, look, start running now. Start exercising now, today. Don't wait.
Right. Don't wait to, or don't lapse in it,
Right. Or at least
keep going. Just keep going. Don't stop.
All right. Next to the panel is what's a good nickname for this one? I was on Joan but then him and Mo, they be going at it with the
Well, while you think of that, make sure everybody reminder.
Thank you.
$ Mo Smith Pro. It's on the screen. All donations, none too small. Amen. Get your New Year's resolution in with a donation and give it on to me. Hey, glory.
Hey, that's how you do. Okay, I found a name that I want to use. This is Receipts, everybody. That's the nickname from now on when he's on the panel. Hello, Tristan.
That was gonna be me.
Oh yeah, that's your nickname, Receipts.
Come on, Receipts.
Right.
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's okay. He had that thug life going on for a second.
Yeah.
What's your resolution?
To get a husband.
Why is that always?
I'm like, I know it's funny, but I'm being very serious. I think that we put effort into like our professional lives. We put effort into our friendships. We put effort into everything that we truly want. So if you truly want a partner or a significant other, why shouldn't you match the effort that you put into the other areas of your life? If that's something you truly want, which
but this is the only pushback I have. Isn't the old adage that you find that person when you stop looking?
They say that, but that's bullshit because I spent literally all of my 20s not looking, and guess what? Didn't find no nigga nowhere. So,
God.
Okay.
We will have to get a vision board for Tristan and
like a vision board.
An intention.
Yeah, right. Next up to the panel, I'm gonna call her the Marley Mom, Sam Harden, because she has her business, Marley Bears, which are edible gummy bears. All right. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing really good. My house is clean, and I'm gonna have some crab and some steak later.
Ooh.
Okay. And I got the steak marinated, and the crab's gonna be in a bag. I'm excited.
Why you do this to me right now?
That's a new one.
I got a whole show I gotta do, Sam.
That's just disrespectful.
And I'm gonna make the Red Lobster biscuits at home.
Not the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Hey.
Not the biscuits, Grandpa.
All right. Well, what's your did we say your resolution? Did you say your resolution?
No.
Okay, what's your resolution?
To position myself, my credit, and everything like that, so I can buy a home in 2022.
Yeah. Man ahead.
Okay. Sure. I bet you got red Kool-Aid too over there, don't you?
Which red?
I have champagne.
I haven't gotten any champagne today. I'm just drinking a little soda.
Mo, I bet you can't guess what's in my cup.
Water.
Right.
Not only because you're pregnant, but also
well, that wasn't too hard.
I always expect singers to be drinking water when they drink anything.
See.
All right.
Never know when you use them pipes.
Right. All right. And our last panelist for this evening, I'm gonna call him the wise game master. Danny. What's good? You're muted. We almost got through entire introductions with no one muted.
No, he's not muted.
Thanks,
it's some technical difficulties.
No,
oh, is it?
Danny.
Okay, Danny, do me a favor. Log out and then log back in. And then in the meantime, I'll do my my resolution.
And it looks like he was high on cloud and nine.
I know, right? Danny, everything you're saying, we can't hear you.
You got me now?
Yes, we hear you now. I forget he actually knows how to work computers. I don't.
Wow.
I turn it off and turn it back on. And if that don't work, it's broken.
It's like blowing in the cartridge.
It's broken.
Yeah.
Danny, what's your how you doing?
I'm still here, right? It's the end of 2020. Tomorrow's going to be not tomorrow. What? Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow? Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tomorrow's going to be 2021. I don't know if that'll mean anything. Whatever. Yeah. My New Year's resolution is nothing. I'm not doing a New Year's resolution, but I am going to publish some stuff this year, and I am going to continue creating this year. And also, I would like everyone to go ahead and drop $5 in the most Cash App. Come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's New Year's. It's New Year's.
New Year's. It's New
okay.
Year's.
So my resolution for the
appreciate
year,
that. Thank you, Ricky Z. Thank you.
Yes. my resolution for this year is to I basically want to take Whoa Nelly Media from where it is, and I want to expand into some other projects. I want to film a story of some sort. I'm writing a shorts, and I would like to get it filmed, at least filmed. So yes, that is my resolution, to actually put something on film that's produced by Whoa Nelly Media. All right. Now, if you've been to Talk It Out before, usually we have like a topic where it's just like, why do men and women not get along, and stuff like that, right? That was a horrible topic, but tonight we're doing it different. We're doing the year in Mo Smith. Tonight we're doing the year in headlines. We're reviewing all the headlines that stood out to us as noteworthy, and you also can do that too. Let us know in the comments which headlines you want to talk about. Hopefully we'll talk about them or we'll bring them up. But before we get into that, of course, we have to take a good old commercial break.
What am I actually telling my body? And the things that our body needs to survive, you can't weigh it down with all that junk, all the chips, cookies, cakes, and pies. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. And I know for me, that's my struggle. My weakness is sweets. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I had already planned when I got this video to make a run to Del Taco real quick and get one of them sweet cheesecake bites. Let me tell y'all something. Them things will make you slap your mama. They so good. Lord have mercy. Is that drool? That done got me drooling.
Hey everybody, my name's Chris.
I'm Duryea.
I'm Ricky Z.
Justin.
And Julian.
Have you heard about Anchor.fm? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. First off, it's free.
Oh, I love free, especially when we're talking creation tools that allow you to record and edit right from your phone and computer.
And Anchor will actually distribute your podcast for you. So as soon as you're finished recording, you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms.
And you can make money off of your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's basically a one-stop shop for everything you need. So head on over to Anchor.fm and download the mobile app now. And make sure you come back and geek out with us. All right, here we go. Let's start this off right. So I posted a question and we took a poll. So I'm going to start with this question. We took a poll online. Let me see what people said on the poll. If y'all watching this and I be putting these polls up on my story, y'all better start answering these polls, because I'm feeling very attacked. I'm feeling not loved when y'all don't, because I see y'all all look at the poll.
Dang,
then don't nobody want to answer the poll. What kind of is that?
Because they accidentally hit your profile. They didn't mean to.
It was an accident.
Yeah. Just tell the truth, man.
Okay, I got you. So the question is it better or worse when your ex goes to someone sexier than you? Let us know what you think in the comments. That's what we're gonna start off with. The poll said 25% said that it is much better when the ex goes to someone better, sexier. And 75% said that is an insult. So who would like to start? Alicia?
First off, I'd like to say that I answered. Thank you very much.
Did you?
Well, all right.
However, I don't agree with my answer because I don't believe either one is sucky. However, I think I would be more offended if the next person is like more successful or doing better, not so much about the looks.
Okay.
So I put an answer, but I lied. So I'm glad I get to clear it up.
Okay, so you're saying that the success matters more than the visuals.
Absolutely.
Not me. I'm a vain. Look, listen, I will say this, and it might just be my opinion. Everybody I've dated has gone to someone who's not as cute as me. But I'm single. I'm 10 years single though, so clearly I'm focused on the wrong shit. Who else wants to go?
I mean, I guess for me, like everyone that I've dated and broken up with, who they moved on with, they weren't. I wouldn't say they were more attractive. They may have been like this. Maybe I'm just that's my ego.
The same.
They're like the same.
I've had a few of those too.
Or they were people that you couldn't really compare. Like we looked so different. There wasn't really comparison. But I agree with Alicia. I would be more so like, I would feel shitty if they broke up with me and the person they was with was more successful, because then I think that speaks to more about who I am, like on the inside. Yes, like legit. I guess because like I can't, like I look how I look. Like this, you know, like I can't. I'm not
change it. Everybody can change it. It's 2000.
But I'm not getting plastic surgery, so if you don't like what this is, then I can't. Ain't shit I can do about that. Right. But like if somebody broke, I'll tell us. Actually, if we're being 100% honest, I hope he's not watching this. I'm gonna put all our business on Front Street.
Just don't say his name.
I'm not gonna say his name, but like I don't have that many exes, so folks can probably figure out who I'm talking about. So one of my exes came here actually this year, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, to like visit for like 4 days. And so we didn't get into an argument, but like he essentially told me the reason why we couldn't be together or why we weren't together is because I didn't have ambition. Now, I felt a ways at first, right? Because I don't agree with that. I felt a ways at first because I'm like, what the, like I took that shit to heart. But then I realized, hey, his current boyfriend is like this nigga 40. His boyfriend's like 20 something, his boyfriend's an aspiring rapper, artist. Right. Meanwhile, my ass up here with a.
That's not that it's funny. I'm laughing at Mo.
But we got a whole
that ambition. Okay.
But here's the guy. In his mind, he feels like if you aren't like living in like a big city struggling, if you're not struggling, you're not ambitious. Like I don't, and that's something that's common with Black people. This idea that if you're not, hustle. If you're not struggling, then you're not trying. First of all, I'm a full-time student currently. I have a great job. I make decent money. I have my own shit. So I think I'm wildly ambitious and wildly successful. But I like to live a certain kind of way. I like a certain kind of life. I like to do certain kind of things. And I'm not going to, it'd be pointless for me to move someplace in like a New York or Chicago or something like that.
Here's my thing, Tristan. The success, and I'm just picking off of what everybody's saying. To me, you said at one point that him going to someone more successful spoke to your character. And I get where you're making that link because of the whole idea about being ambitious. But I'll say this, like, to me, now that actually, because I'm really focusing, it's funny, on mindfulness, and I fail sometimes, but I'm really trying to be like better with my Zen and all that stuff. If my ex left me for someone, this sounds ridiculous, that was more Zen than I, that would make me feel some type of way. It's really because I'm really trying. It's hard, but if they had already achieved that, and then to watch them be happy because of it, I'd be, you know. Danny, did you want to say something?
I'd say you're gonna have to let that one go. So yeah, I mean, I don't care, right? Like, is it a mutual breakup? Did I dump them? Did they dump me? Like, but at the end of the day, I don't really care, right? Like, I mean, they ain't with me no more, right? It don't matter where they
that part,
right? So, I mean, sometimes like I'll look at stuff, you know, I'll see like people from the past and think wistfully like, what could have been? But I don't begrudge them their happiness, you know. So it's all good.
That's because you're better than me.
Much more mature than I.
Sam?
Well, I guess if asked the question, and I still cared about them, then yeah, of course, if the person was in some way better than me, that would sting. Obviously, I'm human. But I think for the most part, when I'm with my exes, I know that there are reasons we're not together. And so it's okay. There's a lot of people out there and you're not my person, and that's okay. At least we know that now. And hopefully when you do get with someone, they are better than me, because obviously I was not the one. Like, I hope you do get for someone, for you, better for you, you know. But like I said, if it was someone I cared about, yeah, it would obviously hurt if they were better in some kind of way.
Go ahead.
What if it's not? I was just thinking about this. What if it's not? For me, what bothers me the most is if you have an ex and then they break up with you and you feel like you like taught them, like you built them up, made them decent.
You sound like ringing the alarm right now.
It's true though. Like you with somebody and like they ain't shit the whole time. They don't have no job. They have no ambition. All they good for is dick and maybe like a smile. And
that is literally the plot of a Tyler Perry movie.
And then they break up with you and they go get somebody. And then suddenly they like wildly successful. They ain't cheating no more.
Of course.
They look better. They gotta go
see what Taraji did, right?
Right. That's a horrible movie. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
How did she get back on the boat?
She swam and then
I think she was hiding back on the boat without being soaking wet.
I think she was hiding on the boat. Clearly.
No. I get how she hid on the boat because there was a little slit in the slot of the window. So that basically displayed that she.
Oh, you mean when she got knocked off the boat?
Yes. How did she get back on the boat?
She didn't get. I don't remember. I have to see that scene again. Either way, that was a good movie.
Remember they knocked off the boat, and then she got back on the boat miraculously, and she wasn't even wet. How did she get back on the boat?
I have to go look at it again. Anyway, go ahead, Tristan. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Daddy, that's how everybody else thinks. That look you gave. That's how everybody else think about that movie.
Yes. I think I will say what is nice and what has happened to me and it feels good is if you break up with somebody and then let's say like years later you see them out in public and you look good and they with somebody and you can tell that shit just ain't, the vibes ain't right. Like
that didn't bring you happiness.
I'm a petty nigga, so it does. Like I'm not gonna. Like, I'm gonna be real. I'm petty as fuck. Oh, petty, I'm a petty. That's how I am. I have to be real. We cool. I ain't gonna change it.
But like my current ex, when I say current ex, the person I most recently dated, he's with a new person right now, and I think they're like cute, and I really root for them. Now, my first, I'm gonna call this my first big breakup. I've had other like. Either we weren't actually together, but this was like my first long-term boyfriend. We were together for like 3 years. And then the dude he left me for was yes, actually, that's the great word. And I was like, oh, you just must not have wanted anything. Like he was like totally the opposite of me. He was short, he was white, he was kind of pudgy, and very hairy. So I was like, oh, you just right. So for me, right. And he was younger, so I was just like, okay. So for me, I guess it's just like a.
He didn't want you. That wasn't what he wanted.
Yeah, and so it didn't. At first, it made me upset, but I think it was more so how it happened, not who he left for. But I think in general, I try to put it out there, like y'all are saying, like I want that person to be happy. If we're not together, because I'm friends with all my exes, and I'm glad to see that all of them are happy, and it doesn't make me feel jealous, actually, to see their happiness. I share in a lot of their happiness, actually, to be honest. So, all right, moving on. Unless somebody has a pressing thing that they want to say. Okay, I actually meant to do this first, and it's going to be something I should have started off with. But as we wrap up the year, I want to take some time to do I'm going to say this word wrong. In memoriam. Is that what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah.
I want to give some love to all the people that are no longer with us this year, because this was a rough year, especially like on a national level, worldwide level. So I just want to list off these people. It's a long list. So, and it's not an all-encompassing list. I couldn't get everybody, but I got a good group of people. Okay. So we'll start George Floyd, Chadwick Boseman, Natalie Desselle Reed, Tommy Tiny Lester, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, King Von, Alex Trebek, the 1.79 plus million COVID deaths globally, 41,000 plus who died of gun violence in the US this year, and the 350 plus trans people that were killed globally this year. Shaheem Pugh, Charlie Pride, Dame Barbara Windsor, David Prowse, Doug Supernaw, Nikki McKibben, Sean Connery, Anthony Chisholm, Eddie Van Halen, Little Richard, John Lewis, Regis Philbin, Kobe Bryant, Cliff Robinson, Naya Rivera, Olivia de Havilland, Grant Imahara, Zindi Mandela, Kelly Preston, John Saxon, Jacob Blake, Anthony Huber, Rayshard Brooks, Nick Cordero, Jerry Stiller, James Lipton, Fred Willard, and Betty White. Those are just some of the names of the people that we lost this year.
Betty White. Wait, Betty White didn't die.
Betty White didn't die? I'm sorry. Sorry.
She does that every year. She does that every year.
Sorry. Betty Wright.
Right.
Okay.
Betty Wright.
I was like, yeah, she did.
Betty White is
right. No. It was Betty. It was Betty Wright.
You also forgot.
You just scared a lot of folks, bro.
I did not mean to. I'm so sorry.
Wait, you also forgot Shabba-Doo.
I forgot a lot of people.
AKA Ozone from Breaking and Breaking 2. He just recently passed.
Now he died a couple of days ago. MF Doom died today, or actually he passed, I think, in October. They said
October 31st.
Right, and they just released the news today, which I mean that's your prerogative, which is kind of odd. But yeah.
Also, Dawn Wells died about 2 days ago. She played Marianne on Gilligan's
Yes.
Right.
There's a lot of people that have passed. I think did John Lewis? I said John Lewis, but didn't someone else who's Congress?
Yeah.
I want to say Carson, but I don't think that's
Alex Trebek passed.
Yeah, we got that one. Okay.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Did you mention Kobe?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Okay, so just love to them, love to all their families, especially the people, just love to everybody right now, spreading love, and let's try to come together and be lovers of each other and not the opposite. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, so basically we were talking before the show about appropriation. So this conversation kind of started. Yeah, I'm just going to go through in there. This conversation started with me and Tristan a while ago, like maybe last week, where he hit me up and he's like, Ariana Grande is the queen of pop. And I'm like,
God.
No, let me tell the story. Let me tell the story. Okay, I can look up the text messages. I know you got receipts too, but I keep a receipt.
She was the reigning queen of pop. Let's be very clear.
What's the difference?
Because, and let me explain the difference.
Oh, wait. Let me before you say that, let me explain. Ma Rainey is the mother of blues, right? Her and Bessie Smith were out at the same time. There will be no other mother of blues. It's just Ma Rainey. Okay, boom. So Bessie Smith's nickname was Empress of Blues. You don't get even Mary J. Blige can't be the queen of soul because Aretha Franklin's the queen of soul. So Mary J. Blige is the queen of hip hop soul. So if there's a queen of pop, if we're being honest, it's Whitney Houston.
I say Madonna.
To me, the reason I say Whitney Houston over Madonna is because I feel like Whitney Houston had much more of a cultural impact than Madonna.
Whitney Houston.
But I don't think we think of her. I don't think people.
You might not think of her music as pop, but it's pop.
But that's kind of the point. That's the kind of the point, though.
If you look at Madonna's catalog over the 30-odd years, and compared to Whitney's 15, 20 years.
Oh no, I highly disagree.
I do have to give it to Madonna. If you want to look at world sales,
Madonna, but I don't think she got a stronger.
If you have to look at world sales, Madonna was the highest. Wait. Madonna was the highest selling artist as far as women. Michael Jackson was the highest selling male. He was the king of pop. So if we're going off of that, if we're going off of popular music, you do kind of have to give that to Madonna.
Believe it or not,
damn it! I googled it and it's motherfucking Madonna.
Why
do you do this? Why do you beat yourself up like this?
Let me say this though. This is why, but I wasn't talking about sales, and this is where me and Tristan couldn't come to an agreement. Tristan was talking about sales. Mo was talking about sales. I'm talking about a cultural impact. Whitney Houston has not only made the cultural impact she made, she influenced pretty much every singer after her. Period. Madonna, I can say the same for.
I think
he has a more on that because if it wasn't for Madonna, you wouldn't have Nicki Minaj, you wouldn't have Little Kim, you wouldn't have. I'm sorry.
True. I highly doubt that.
That is not to say that there could have been someone else that would have taken that place and eventually been that person that led to Nicki Minaj, etc. But in our world, it was Madonna.
Like
I have to agree because
why do y'all do this to me? I'm so sick of y'all coming to my show and
I will say this though. I will say this. If it wasn't for Betty Wright, Madonna wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
That's true. But Betty Wright was like behind the scenes, low-key influencing everybody. Really, really. I didn't even realize that she was like Danity Kane's vocal coach. Like she was still influencing.
Right, but if you look at Betty Wright's catalog and her actual content,
okay,
that's where Madonna got a lot of her stuff.
Here's my issue though. When we're talking about pop, this is the thing about that genre of music. It's so wonky and fluid because if you really want to say who's the singer, it's a throwback. But if you really want to ask what singer influenced everything in popular music today, it is Ma Rainey. When you go back and look at what she was doing, she didn't get as much recognition because she wasn't a recording artist, and the records that she made wasn't how she made her money. She was back then. You performed. That's how people knew who you were. It was word of mouth. But her style of singing changed the game. Period. She influenced what's his name? Tom. I can't remember his name. I think Thomas Dorsey is his name.
Again, what was
her band member? He's the father of God.
I think the disconnect between what me and Derie were speaking, or what our opinions are, is that I don't want to put words in your mouth, bro. So if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Okay.
I think Derie focuses more so on the pure singing ability or the pure. Well, hear me out. The pure talent of how they vocally perform, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at Madonna and Whitney Houston, Madonna has iconic music videos. Iconic. You even to this day, you can see an outfit, you can see a scene, you know what video that was, you know what era of Madonna that was. You don't necessarily have, besides the Bodyguard era, you don't necessarily have that as much. I'm not saying
right. Thank you, Alicia. I was waiting for you to say something.
Hold on, and let me, and that's what I was getting at when I said Ariana Grande was the reigning queen of pop. The reason why I said reigning and not the queen, when I say reigning, I'm speaking about who's currently making music. That's why hold up. I'm gonna throw it to Alicia because she hasn't had it. But that's why me and you didn't agree, because you're trying to say Beyonce is done making music because she said she's gonna take a break. Beyonce got more Grammy nominations this year than anybody, and she didn't even put out music, bro. Beyonce can come out with a song tomorrow, and she just might, knowing her. And my point is, the reigning queen being defined by who's currently making music, I still don't give it to Ariana. But Alicia had something to say. We'll scoop around back to you, Tristan. Alicia and then Mo.
I'm sorry, Derie, but I'm not going to say Whitney Houston is the queen of pop. I think, and the reason why is because, and this is my biggest reason why, she dibbles and dabbles in a lot of, not a lot of genres, yes, but she's not solely pop, where Madonna is, and she's influential as a pop singer, as a pop performer. So that I'm gonna give it to Madonna. I'm not saying Whitney Houston ain't great, and also Whitney Houston is more than just a bodyguard. How dare you?
Who is he? Let me say something real quick before I send it over to Mo.
That was before his time. That was before his time. The baby said he was home at 32.
You think I'm young? Oh my God! Thank you. Stop.
Oh my goodness.
Let me say something real quick. Before I think I'm young.
I think you're ignorant. I'm trying to be nice.
The thing about Whitney Houston, and you talk about iconic, this is my issue. This is what we talk about appropriation. Whitney Houston comes out with soundtrack. Everyone falls in love sometime. That is a pop record to me. Everybody else says it's R&B because she's not white. But if Christina Aguilera had recorded that same song, they would have called it pop. Shoot. If Christina Aguilera recorded any of Whitney Houston's songs, it would have been pop solely because she's white. Period. Christina Aguilera to me is the soul singer. That's fine, but let me say what I think. I'm using her as an example because to me, Christina Aguilera is an R&B soul singer. That's the style that she sings, but she's never classified that way for one reason only. Because she's white.
She's white. That's fair.
No.
Go ahead,
Danny. I'm gonna say, look.
Go ahead, because it's something percolating. I want to hear it. Go ahead, Danny.
as a house DJ, right? As a house DJ, you always hear, oh, it's this house, it's that house. Like they want to break it all down into whatever. And what I learned is this. A genre of a song, especially one that maybe got popular in the rave scene or in the dance music scene or what have you, generally people classified the genre based on the type of DJ they first heard play it. Okay, so if a techno DJ played that song, they'd be like, "That's techno," and then like another person heard a house DJ play it, like straight up house DJ, and they'd be like, "That's a house track," and then they would argue over about whether it was a house track or not a house track. Okay. I posit to you that the reason is not necessarily because Christina Aguilera is white. It's because she's a pop star. And so because she's a pop star, people are going to see because there are black pop stars who will sing soulful stuff and the mainstream audience will still think of it as pop.
Who? Beyonce?
I just said.
But no. This is my thing about it. You told me, Tristan, don't hop on the Beyonce train now, because you told me when I said Beyonce that she wasn't a pop singer.
No, I didn't. No,
yes, you did.
No, what I no. Let's be. I want to be clear about what I said. I said Beyonce's I said The Gift, specifically The Gift, that album, that Lion King joint.
Right.
That's not a pop album to me.
So that don't sound like it is a pop album because it was just like Danny said, was sung by a pop star. So you can't have it both ways, Tristan. Wait. If Beyonce is a pop star and she does an album that's influenced by other stuff, it's still a pop album just because she's a pop star. You just agree with Danny, and that's what Danny just said. So
but is Taylor Swift still considered a country artist?
I consider Taylor Swift, even her country records to me are pop because they were Billboard. To me, pop is popular.
I didn't say it was right. I'm just saying that's what people start to do. That's all I was getting at.
There is. I will have. Well, wait. Let me get my little 2 cents in. There is an exception
you can jump in whenever you want to. You know that.
There is an exception to the rule.
Yes, I do know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's not forget about what's that old Town Road little boy, young Nas X. That was clearly a country song, but them country music gatekeepers definitely wanted to keep that song out. Even after Billy Ray Cyrus was on the remix, they tried their hardest to keep it off the country music charts.
And for why? Because it was.
So let's not try to pretend that there's not a layer of systematic racism within popular music, because there is.
And that's all I'm really trying to say is that the rules aren't equally spread. Like when you look at certain artists, to me, Rihanna is a pop star.
And thank you. I was just about to actually go into that. If you really want to go into who's the real pop icon,
she hasn't made music in a while.
She hasn't made any music in a few years, but
I love her.
But if you look at sales, she's actually the highest selling woman.
She be selling
as far as record sales now.
And when you look at the fact that every single time she puts out anything, it is everywhere.
It sells out. So Rihanna. So Rihanna outsells Ariana Grande. She sells her out in service.
But he's basically saying what he says is his reasoning was that Ariana is putting out music right now, like consistently. This is my issue with that. You look at people like Seven Streeter, SZA, Normani. That's actually where I'm talking about Normani versus Camila Cabello. That's what I'm talking about.
And I love her. I love her.
Yeah, but
Normani versus Camila Cabello. Why is it that Camila Cabello didn't have to do a bunch of features before she got her own stuff? Like Normani.
And I think Camila is
doing everything that she's doing, yet she's getting none of the recognition that Camila Cabello is getting.
And also, I think, and it's not just consistently putting out music. I guess when I personally, this is my opinion, when I personally, at least my framework for pop music, I'm a 90s baby, right? So when I came of age and was able to listen to music on my own and not listen to what my parents were playing, pop music for me was like the bubblegum pop of like the late 90s. So that's Mandy Moore. I'm giving my reference for what I define pop music. Right. And not just the Blonde Squad, but no, and not just, but like even like an Aaliyah, a Sierra, like all of that is pop music to me. And if you look at all those artists, the one thing they have in common is they make like up-tempo dance music. They dance in their videos. That dance is a big part of kind of what they do.
But
me and Cabello doesn't dance.
Here's the problem though. They got all that from New Jack Swing. That was in the early 90s.
I'm not saying they didn't.
I know, but I'm educating you, sweetheart. All those groups that was in the early 90s.
Let's capitulate. Let's
the J.
All popular music comes from, like, we all know that all popular music comes from black music.
I just remembered If I Had No Loot by Tony the other night.
Wait, hold on, wait. Everybody's talking. Let me go to Alicia, and then I'm just get some other people a chance to talk. Alicia, and then I'm going to go to Sam and then Danny, because I think Sam did have something to say.
I just want to say something about the appropriation comment that Tristan keeps popping up. And so I'm going to say this. Yes, pop music is highly, highly influenced by the blues. But when you do the history of the blues is a combination of music from Africa and European descent or the white colonies. It's a combination of both of those. So anytime you have music, it's going to be influenced. So it's all one big appropriation, if you want to think of it that way. So I guess I kind of cringe when I hear, that's appropriation for black music. But
agreed.
If we're talking about American black music, we're typically talking about the blues, which influenced jazz, and gospel, which influenced pop, which influenced rock and roll, and everything else. But what is blues but a combination of spirituals and European music mixed together?
Music means we use their instruments because that's what we had.
But you also have to look at it like this. I think for me, the issue comes with, I get that the music is kind of done like this. So like black people might have been the roots for things like country, pop, and rock and roll. But nowadays, to be black and in those genres, it's almost impossible, right? Or to really be seen as that. Like a black singer singing all pop stuff is still an R&B singer, right? So because of that, that's why I say it's the appropriation that bothers me. So this whole conversation got started because the song came on the radio and it was like, the hook was, what a man gotta do. And I was like, I know the person who's singing that doesn't talk like that. They don't talk like that at all. So it frustrates me even seeing these little itty bitty things. It's like you're biting off of this culture in order to sell a hit record. But if a black artist sang that exact same song, first of all, it wouldn't be on the radio. Second, unless it was Jason Derulo. It wouldn't be on the radio. Jason Derulo, because to me, he is like a pop star. He's a black man that managed to be like hands down a pop star.
Yeah,
huge pop star.
But the music that he sings, he makes a point. He makes a point to do certain beats and stay away from others. He makes a point to do pretty much only up tempo. He makes a point to do that stuff because he knows this is what sells, and he can do that with his voice and all these Sam Smith type dudes doing all that falsetto stuff. He's like, look, this is what I can do. I'm gonna make my money this way, and y'all are gonna put me in that box because that's what it is. I feel like the fact that we have to say like this album of Beyonce's pop and this one's not is BS. The fact that you want to put The Bodyguard as her most popular album, with me, it might be her most iconic album, but I think her most popular album, at least amongst my family, is her Preacher's Wife album.
At Christmas time, yes.
That's a classic album.
That was a more niche album. We can't get away from that. That was definitely a more niche album.
But it had one of her biggest hits on it. What's that song where she not When You Believe? What's the song? I Believe in You and Me.
Oh, I know. I just want to be clear with the audience because I want to. When I said what I said to him, I had just watched Ariana Grande's Sweetener tour movie video on Netflix, so it was very fresh in my mind. And for me, it was refreshing. I like to see motherfuckers dance. Like that's my shit. I want
dancing over her dancers dancing.
She was dancing like sis was doing. No, she was doing choreography.
She was doing Ariana choreography though. No shade. No shade. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you why. I'm gonna give her a little shade. Everybody saw the video with her and Jennifer Hudson and Mariah Carey, right? I'm mad that Jennifer Hudson went on record that she's not a dancer. She did Dreamgirls, and if you look at behind the scenes, it showed like it was working with Jennifer, working with Beyonce. How Jennifer Hudson, who never dances in any of her shows, outdance Ariana Grande?
I mean, that could be. I've only seen the video for a hand. I've only seen 20 seconds of it, so I can't speak on it. I can speak what I've seen. When I watched the Sweetener tour, when I watched the video, her newest video for that 34, the 69 song, like that's it's like the two numbers that added 69. Like sis was giving you, like she was dancing, like she was in somebody's studio, trying and doing a very good job. And for me, there are a lot of the popular pop girls. Let me be very clear: the popular pop girls, not the Seven Streeters, not the Dawns, because obviously they dance and they don't get their shine like what they should. A lot of the popular pop girls, a Dua Lipa.
You can't keep making exceptions. That's what I'm saying. Like
I'm speaking about what I see and what I
you just brought it up and made me remember. If you want to talk about who has to me, we talk about the full package. Who can sing, who can stand on a stage and with just a microphone and sing the house down, but then can also give you multiple genres of music and then can also dance to the nines. Dawn Bouchard is untouched.
Easy.
Unmatched. But why is it that she's not? Why? What's the difference?
Listen, I completely agree. There's a racial component
here in a second, though. By the way, I'm sorry.
There's a racial component involved.
Well, let me just.
At the same time, I do think there's some merit to what Danny said, which is when you have Black pop artists who are known as pop artists, like a Beyonce, then anything they do becomes pop. Whether it be
back and forth on Beyonce, you need to figure out what you're gonna put Beyonce as.
Two things can be true. There can be a racial component involved, and what Danny said is true. When you have a pop artist like Beyonce has rock songs on the on is it Lemonade?
Lemonade.
That's a rock song. Lemonade.
She got rock songs on 4, dude.
Daddy's Lessons is a country song. Daddy's Lessons is a straight up country
song. She has literally
song.
done. Her first album had a reggae track on it, bro. She stays crossing genres.
But like Danny says, once the world sees you or solidifies you as a pop artist, then everything you do becomes pop. I think you guys can.
If that's the case, then she wouldn't be on the R&B charts, which she is. She stays on the R&B charts.
So but that's like I said, it doesn't make it true. It's just that's how a lot of people see you, and so like it'll be on the R&B charts. But nowadays we have so much cross pollination, it'll be on like the adult contemporary charts at the same time, right?
And you have artists like Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber
now, come on.
I'm sorry, my bad.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm listening to all this back and forth and everything, and y'all make a lot of good points, but we do have to remember that the reality is today, right now, today, this time in our lives, 2020, that the true queens of pop are going to be Blackpink. So it's the end of the story. They're in your area, right? So
listen, and I'm gonna throw a lot of look at the
YouTube views. Look at the YouTube views, right? They get released. They can release 1 billion views in like 5 minutes.
That's appropriation.
That is the worst to me, because this is why Blackpink. I'm about to say this on TV, on the internet. Okay, this is why Blackpink.
This opinion is
mine, not that of Nelly Media, though. Yeah, I'm speaking as an individual.
Come on.
I get frustrated with K-pop artists, period, because K-pop to me, especially understanding how that culture views dark skin,
and
not even just Black people, like even their own people. Like if you're like whiteness is so like praised, idolized, but I see you over there pop, like the fuck. Like to me, that is the biggest insult, that they get to use our music, like BSB or whatever they are, and K-pop. Yeah. They take our music, they take our style, our dance, and all that, but then spit on our who we are. And then they get to make so much motherfucking money off of it. It literally, every time I see anything from them, like I was listening to some song and I was like, oh, this is that kind of stuff.
They literally.
But see, here's the thing: they took the Motown formula and they cranked it up to 11. It is they're funded by the state, the government. They get government funding. So basically, you have these young kids. They're basically, it's like a puppy mill. They're ran through. They they teach them how to dance. They teach them how to sing. They teach them how to do social media. All of that. And basically,
if you watch the Blackpink documentary on Netflix, like you'll see it. Like they'll have like several like different groups that are similar to Blackpink. But just depending on how it goes, I think they kind of go to like a contest type of situation. Like it's a legit school. or they do that.
Unfortunately, what's gonna happen, just like the song with Outkast, Andre 3 Stacks and Lil Wayne, Hollywood Divorce. Yeah, 3 Stacks said at the end, we're just gonna have to come up and make some other shit. That's what it's gonna come to. That's what happened with blues. That's what happened with jazz. That's what happened with country music. That's what I know. You cringe, Alicia. What every time I say that, it's appropriation from Black people. Just because we were allowed to use their instruments doesn't mean that they had a say in it.
All right.
I have a request.
Hold on a second. Hold on. We're about to move to the next topic. Somebody said something real quick.
I just told Mo I'll talk to her offline.
Okay, Tristan, real quick.
Don't beat me.
Oh, I want this because you told us to think of a topic, and I was gonna tell you.
Yeah, I know. I got one left, and then we'll go around the circle. Yeah,
I'm gonna set up.
Okay, so this next one I want to talk about. What do I want to talk about? Okay, let's talk about this Nashville bombing that just happened.
Ooh, child.
So a gentleman, I don't know his name. I did read articles, but I do not know his name. I'm not going to say.
We didn't say his name. Don't give him time.
A gentleman decided to bomb. Was it like a city block or what was it?
Downtown.
Yeah. Downtown Nashville, and he apparently the fact that happened and all those lives were lost. My heart goes out to them and their families. Well, but that's not really what I want to talk about.
Wait. No one. He died. Only he died.
Okay.
Only he died.
Thankfully,
no one else died. Only his selfish self.
The headline I saw was basically the first headline I saw about it was him saying that he was going to be famous, and so from that I really avoided articles. Yeah, apparently, before he said that to someone, he's like, "I'm going to be the most famous." Yeah. So after that, I was like, "I'm not even going to give him time of the day." But now I'm talking about it on the internet anyway. So basically, after he bombed it, it's crazy because reports came out that his girlfriend had told the police that he was building bombs. Apparently, there was a call to her house about her behavior being erratic, and she was sitting on the porch with guns. So when they came up to her, I guess they were expecting to find somebody who wasn't lucid or someone who was not sane. But my reading the article, she sounded very, very matter of fact and saying she said she didn't want the guns in her house anymore. They were unloaded. She wanted him out. And essentially that he was in this bunker somewhere building bombs. They said they went to the bunker, knocked on the door. Since nobody answered, they left and never did a check back. So, some people are saying, that's white privilege, because if it was, they compared it to the story of the woman who got arrested while naked. Do y'all know that story?
Mm-hmm.
Not arrested. Sorry, they broke into her house. Not broken. They broke into her house.
They raided her.
They raided
her house.
And then while she was naked, handcuffed her while she was naked. They didn't cover her. Searched the house. The whole time she's saying, "Y'all are at the wrong place. Y'all are at the wrong place." Now this woman is a social worker. She works for the government, and essentially, at the end of it, turns out the person they were looking for lived next door. Not only does he live next door, he's also on probation, which means they have his address on file. Mm-hmm. And not only is he on probation, he also has an ankle monitor on. So the fact that they broke into this woman's house doesn't make any sense. So when you compare the two instances where they went into this woman's house based off an anonymous tip
and false information,
right? With false information, yet you can take this, huh? Yes, you can. Yeah, you can take what was I about to say? Yeah, you can take this man. This woman says, "Hey, he's building bombs." Well, he didn't answer, so. And
they end up taking I don't know if the police did specifically, but I know that she ended up going to get a mental evaluation shortly after that.
They did, to make her seem like she was the problem.
Well, yeah, because they felt like their time was wasted because there was no tickets being involved. You have to remember, be it the South, their focus is on making money. That wellness call, that didn't make them any money. So their focus is on figuring out a way for them to make some money. I'm pretty sure having her go through those classes, that wellness check, they made some money from the state somehow from that. So I'm not that surprised that happened. Fortunately, looks like a Karen actually saved the day.
How so?
Yes.
Because there was someone that said, "Hey, they called the police. Hey, there's a suspicious RV sitting outside. Can you have police to come check it out? And because of that, police were actually already there on scene when the
bomb went off.
Well, before the bomb went off, there was an eerie message going off saying you need to evacuate the area if you can hear this message. And prior to the bomb going off. So basically the police were already there on scene, evacuated everybody they could. So it could have been even more people hurt, but there was only three people that were mild, that had mild, like,
injuries,
injuries,
and they were police
to the hospital, and they were police officers on scene. So thank God it could have been a whole lot worse than it could have been. Mind you, the sad part, what set him off is because found out he had terminal cancer.
Jesus,
that was his set off. That was his linchpin. He found out he had terminal cancer, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna take as many people with me as I can, and I'm gonna be famous."
And that's horrible.
What level of privilege is this country? And the sad part is they still refuse to call him a suicide bomber on air, on major media.
And that's what
if he wasn't, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think my biggest issue with this and some of the other things that have happened this year with certain other groups is that we don't want to call domestic terrorism when it's domestic terrorism. But we're very quick to call something terrorism if it's just somebody who's brown. Like if somebody is a Muslim and does something, whether it's related to their religion or not the religion or even terror-based, we will just call it that because they're brown. But when you have things like this guy or the Proud Boys who burned that cross at that church, that's domestic terrorism, pure and simple. Dylan Roof, he's a domestic terrorist. Like, it's domestic, but we don't call it that. And if you notice, whenever someone who's white, if they do something like that, it's always, oh well, what was wrong with them? Like it's not their fault.
Lone wolf that was misunderstood.
Like what made them get to that point? But we don't do that when it's somebody who's a Muslim that does. And to me, if you want to have that conversation, it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad conversation, but let's have it for everyone. Why don't we say when a Muslim guy does something, well, what if he was radicalized? What made him? What radicalized him? What happened in his life that made him do that? If we're gonna do it, let's do it across the board.
Well, Tristan, I don't know if this particular incident would be considered a terrorist attack, because terrorist attacks are usually more political, and this one seemed like he was just mad that he had cancer, so he was going to.
No, but not. I feel like if he's been building bombs for an extended period of time, because the girlfriend had reported this a year ago at least. So there'd been some time between then. So like I feel like it's I don't think it's that.
But it's still not it's still from what Mo was saying, because I don't know much about it. It still doesn't sound like it's for like a social reason or a political.
And that's a fair point.
I'm looking it up right now, Alicia. I'm looking it up right now. Yep, you're right.
But pause. Is it a suicide bomber? Did he commit suicide with his bombing?
Yes, right, but not a terrorist.
So they definitely should call it a suicide bomber.
Remember my words. I said suicide bomber. I didn't say domestic terrorism.
That's what I said. And you're right, Alicia. I'll concede that point.
But it does say in the definition. Hello? Sorry. It does say in the definition that it says it has to attaining the goal is to attain political or religious aims. So I guess
right. Hence why I said it's a suicide bomber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Either way, the point is the media is not covering this as something that it's like that. Side note, while doing my research to do my in memoriam thing, I read about apparently this year had the pandemic has created a huge decrease in the number of mass shootings.
It's true.
Apparently there were only
silver lining.
Yeah, because none of those little red rats was at school.
They basically said because there's no public venues. It didn't happen. That is a sign, a positive sign from this all happening. All right. So
So what did we learn from 2020?
So, so the assignment that we all had was to bring in articles that we thought were our headline favorites for the year. So before we go into that segment, that was like the current events bullshit and kind of talking. Now we're going to go into the actual headlines. Before we do that, let's pause for a short ad break. I almost forgot you had that beard, Danny.
Once upon a time.
Yep. That was Rem Alternis, Shadowrun RPG. We play every Tuesday, and it starts at 8. It goes to 11. It's a lot of fun. Danny's the game master. Turn up. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's a great time. All right. So Tristan really wants to talk about whatever article he found. So I'm gonna let Tristan go first, and then I'm gonna go to Sam. Because Sam has been so quiet today, and I want to hear Sam.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been doing dishes, and so
Yes, queen.
We see you cleaning, multitask.
So it was like, the noises weren't, good for this. So
Yeah. I got you. It's all good.
Trying to be considerate.
We love you. All right, Tristan, go ahead. What's up?
So it's not a specific article, but I think it's something that is very much been in the news and kind of a part of 2020 for a few reasons. And so it's OnlyFans. So it's true. This has been like the year
of the
OnlyFans 2 years ago. But I think COVID has made this the year of OnlyFans. And so I think what I have found the most interesting is how many, well, I have 2 points. How many like mainstream people like have OnlyFans and are doing actual pornography, not just like scamming people out there.
I think Tyga's the only one I've heard about.
There's a few more, like Amber Rose is doing legitimate.
Of course, Amber Rose is gonna do it.
So there's that side
Black China too.
The's that side of it, right?
I don't know.
OnlyFans, yeah.
Having an OnlyFans and using an OnlyFans are two different things. Lisa Ray got an OnlyFans and had other people pay her money and ain't put out no content.
And don't do nothing.
I'm just like, wrong for that.
Scamming. But I guess the one thing that I kind of want to talk about is I want to preface, I support sex workers. I support sex work. I see no problem with people selling pornography, making pornography, selling bussy, selling pussy, selling dick. Get your life, get your coin.
My God.
I think what troubles me is there are these two, and this is an example. There are these two twins, these two gay twins, and they are super popular on OnlyFans. They literally turned 18 this year. Like they were 17, and the moment they turned 18, they made an OnlyFans and started making hardcore porn on OnlyFans. And what bothers me is I know when I was 18, if I would have done that when I was 18, I would have regretted it now. So what I'm concerned is that probably, maybe, I don't know.
It's funny you say that.
I would have been more open to it right now. I would have been more open to it then than I would be right now as an adult. But what I'm concerned about is
you were a freak in your 20s. That's what that means. Because the way it happens is the freaks, when you're a freak in your 20s, by the time you're 30, you want to slow down. When you're not a freak in your 20s, then you get to your 30s. It's like
I'm the right person. But what concerns me is that people look at OnlyFans as like a quick way to make money, and they don't think about the full ramifications of what it means if you put yourself having sex on camera on the internet. Case in point, there was a New York Post story where this EMT got exposed for being an OnlyFans worker, and then she got mad because they ran the story. But my thought was, well, no, you made an OnlyFans. Like there can't be an expectation of privacy when you doing public sex work. Like that doesn't.
Okay, so here's the thing.
There cannot be an expectation of privacy when you are doing public sex work.
I don't think it's an expectation of privacy. Wait. It's not an expectation of privacy. But I think it is a double standard because when you have firemen having their sexy calendars coming out every year because they don't get paid enough, and they got their sexy calendars coming out every year, that's okay. But she comes out with her OnlyFans. God knows, I don't know what her content is in her OnlyFans. That ain't none of my business.
It was a bit more.
That ain't is not any of my business because I wasn't a patron of her OnlyFans. So that's between her and only her fans. So if you're not, so for them to slut shame her, to have her lose her job, that is unacceptable. And furthermore, yes, OnlyFans started out as a service to try to bridge the gap between musicians, singers, or whatever, and their fans. However, the musicians weren't utilizing it. So you had a bunch of sex workers who were saying, hey, let me use this because, hey, COVID is cutting in on my money, honey. I got to do what I got to do in order to make a paycheck because the government is not, because let's be clear, the government is not taking care of what I need to have taken care of, unlike other companies, i.e. Japan. They pay their sex workers to stay home.
Yes.
So, because here's my thing. Sex workers should be regulated anyway.
I agree.
If they're regulated, you would cut down on STI infection. Also, you would cut down.
That's the upcoming topic.
You would cut down on what's it called when the women get kidnapped?
Trafficking.
Trafficking. You would cut down on trafficking. Yes, you would cut down on all these things.
And also, let's put in the context the reason why, if I recall correctly, the reason why this EMT worker had an OnlyFans in the first place.
No money.
Right, like she did, like particularly during this time, she needed to be able to supplement her income. So like you're shaming someone doing something that she could do as well as her other, like her main job. Like that was supposed to be. But they
didn't shame her. They just no, I read the article. The original article just said, and actually it was about her having to use OnlyFans because she wasn't being paid enough during COVID. Like that.
Did they get permission? This is my thing about it. This is the interesting thing about it because when you're talking about freedom of press, I think, and I'm not a journalist, so I don't know, but I think journalists have a duty to really think about that kind of stuff, or they should have a duty of how is this article going to affect the people I'm writing it about? Like, we do an expose about a woman who's literally just trying to make her ends meet. She's not doing anything to hurt anybody. She's not embezzling money. She's not taking money away from like sick and dying children. She's just, doing her little hustle. And you're like, oh, this is entertaining. So let's.
Well, they're trying to do the same thing, Duryea. They're trying to make an interesting story so they can get their money up.
But I'm not saying I get it. I agree. I'm just saying it's about ramifications. Like we're saying that she should have thought about that she's an OnlyFans, and they also should think about the ramifications of what they're doing too, and how that's going to affect her because she did not make it public. Like if she was doing like porn, then that's different because that's very public. No. Because if it was on Pornhub or something like that, it's one thing. My understanding of OnlyFans is you don't get to see it unless you pay for it directly to her.
But like if you have an OnlyFans page, I can put your OnlyFans URL in and I can see that you have a profile. I can see how many videos. I can't see the videos, but I can see that you have X amount of videos.
And tell me how much porn I'm doing. Because I got one.
Huh?
Go to my OnlyFans page and tell me how much
you got OnlyFans.
If you're not doing porn, I'm gonna pay for your OnlyFans. If you're not doing porn, I'm gonna pay for your OnlyFans. I pay for dick and ass. That's what we pay for over here.
I'm just saying though, you can't like. So that's just to Duryea's point about whether it's public or private, right? Like you don't know what I'm doing with my OnlyFans.
But here's the gag.
Because Cardi B doesn't do sex stuff on her OnlyFans.
Any person, anybody can go and subscribe to an OnlyFans. If you have a credit card, there is not like you can't block certain people from looking at your OnlyFans or joining your OnlyFans. So if you have one, if I want to right now, Danny, I can go pay money and see what you post on OnlyFans.
Right. You can, but also that comes with the understanding that what you paid for, you cannot share outside of that. That's your thing.
You can't share the content, but there's nothing saying I can't go and say, hey, y'all know I went on so-and-so's OnlyFans.
So did the people who wrote the article pay for her? Did they pay?
Huh?
The people who wrote the article, did they pay to see her OnlyFans?
I would assume the journalist who ran the story paid the whatever, because it wasn't a lot of money.
That's why I can't have my OnlyFans because I'm charging out the wazoo.
Right, like I'm sure they would have had the
Well, apparently she was popular for it to get across his fingers.
Touche.
And that was my thing.
Here's my thing. I'm sorry. I want to hop on this topic for a second. I think the thing about OnlyFans that's so interesting to me is the celebrities that are promoting it sexually. Like, not that they have one, but like, have you ever seen the City Girls video for jobs? I love that video. I love the City Girls. Basically, they get fired from their job because they're just being ratchet.
Sounds about right.
They get fired from their job because they're being ratchet, and then they go hang out with Saucy Santana, and basically they're like, you know what you need to do? Just get you an OnlyFans. So then they make a music video, which is them setting up and performing on OnlyFans. And I'm just like, I'm in love with that because I actually think, I agree, sex work should be legal. Why is it illegal? Regulate it along with drugs, get that out the way, and then actually focus on like actual crimes. But yeah, I think for me, I loved seeing sex positivity. That's what it is. I love seeing sex positivity because it's nice to let people know that your sexuality, however you choose to express it, whether that is being asexual or pansexual, you know what I'm saying? However you choose to express your sexuality, it should be. Oh, I couldn't think of a Z. So that was what I could think of.
I know.
I mean, some people like learning about asexuality is interesting. About people who just don't. I don't really know about it, but the fact that that's a thing and that should be okay and it shouldn't be judged and criticized. I really like that. That's where things are going. I can look it up.
I mean, that's cool if that's what they like, but you know, we ain't.
Sam, do you want to hop on this at all with your cupcake making ass?
Come on, cakes.
Cake.
First of all, I'm actually buttering some potatoes that I'm gonna put in the bag with the crab.
Ooh, that's so
Yo, she come through with the food.
Yeah.
But yeah, so wait, Kim, I get a recap since y'all threw me off with the potatoes and the cookie.
How you feel about
OnlyFans? I mean, you know what? It's 2020. People gotta do what they gotta do. And you know, if you're gonna put yourself out there, like expect to have articles written about you, but I don't think you should like lose your job because of it.
Did she lose her job?
She did lose her job.
Yes, she did lose her job.
Yeah, of course she did. Of course she did.
And you've had teachers, you've had a few teachers that got caught having OnlyFans, and then they lost their jobs because they had OnlyFans.
Well, I mean,
they have a morality.
Remember that teacher? Y'all remember that teacher like a couple years ago, and she on Facebook she put up a picture of her drinking wine on her like vacation in Italy or something, and she got fired because of it.
Mm-hmm. What county was that? Ooh.
Girl, I don't know. It was a lot. It was a couple years ago, but I'm just speaking to the standard. Like teachers are held to a different standard, and that might be a topic too.
And apparently EMTs as well.
I think teachers should be held. I'm gonna be honest. I think teachers should be held to a different standard. My best friend is a administrator. She's a principal at a school, and she's probably one of the most. She's probably one of the most. I won't say moral because it's not that she's the most moral, but conservative. She's very conservative. You know what I'm saying? I don't think she curses. She's a vegetarian, but she got 5 kids, and all of them are like 2 years apart. So, you know, it goes down in the household.
Anyway, why was that a but?
What do you mean?
You said she's this and she's that, but.
Well, because my point is to say that like
sexual.
Yes, incredibly, right? But she doesn't put that out there like that, you know. So she knows how to separate her sex life from her personal life because in this instance, she's seen as someone who needs to be above reproach, and right now, sexuality is reproachable.
I just want to say,
maybe I'm not saying it right. I'm not saying sexuality is not. I'm saying it's up for judgment. People who are overly sexual still get judged.
You're saying that puritanical beliefs still reign in the United States, yes, and that is true.
In a lot of very conservative households, it's important to bear fruit. So, like having multiple children back to back is like thought of as like. I don't know, damn near a saint. Like it's not thought of as like, oh, you freaky, you having sex all the time. Like, no,
I mean, it could be like this procreation sex.
I never thought of it that way. I can see it that way, but I guess the point was to say that because she's a principal, like you don't see that side of her at all, and she saves it for her household. And I think she should, because as a principal, you don't want these budding children viewing you that way. You don't.
For the record, I just want to say I'm an avid patron of the OnlyFans. I've subscribed to more than a few. If anybody has any good ones, please drop down in the comments.
Yeah, if you got an OnlyFans, everybody who got if you got an OnlyFans, please hit us up in the comments, and I will.
Hey, if you ain't getting no OnlyFans, quit it.
You're not showing dick and ass, though. I don't want your OnlyFans. Let me be very clear.
I'll take your OnlyFans if you're not showing it, but I'm gonna try to get you to show it.
Like, no,
wait a minute.
Golly.
Well, clutch my pearl.
Sorry.
Okay. Does anyone else have an article?
I do.
All right. What's your article about?
Well, it's okay. Basically, the article is about Daniel Kaluuya. He got he got the part for Fred Hampton in the upcoming biopic. So it's not necessarily about him per se, but the bigger subject, which I'm pretty sure you'll love, Black British actors versus Black American actors.
About that.
Yes.
Can I start?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
So here's my issue. Jennifer Hudson. And you know I don't like when people fuck with Jennifer Hudson. I really get upset.
Lord Jesus.
So this started with Cynthia Erivo, who actually, the first time I heard her sing, I was literally blown away. She's an incredible singer. She does this cover of Sweet Dream by Beyonce, and I think that's the best cover of a song I've ever heard, give or take. So her and Jennifer Hudson did Broadway together. You know, cool, everything cool, bits and pieces. And I was on the fence about it, and then she got cast in Harriet. And I was like, I'm glad, you know, because I like a good shooting star kind of thing where you're like, no one knows you, you're everywhere. I like that kind of stuff. I root for that, especially because she is still of the, you know, she's still Black. So this is where she lost me. Okay. Aretha Franklin has spent years talking about her movie, how much she wanted it made. She didn't want a television movie. She wanted it on the big screen. She didn't want a series. She wanted a big movie with all the flash and bang and stuff like that. And she wouldn't sign off on it until she approved the actor to play her. Fast forward, she picks Jennifer Hudson, handpicked Jennifer Hudson. Then tragically, Aretha Franklin dies. And as soon as that happens, they greenlight a project about Aretha Franklin's life that's going to be a television series starring Cynthia Erivo. And it comes out like right before the movie. And she lost me after that. I was like, all money ain't good money, and you're a snake. That's how I feel about it. Because you basically went against the queen of soul. Everything she wanted, you cut that quickly. And then I thought y'all was supposed to be cool. This your girl. And Jennifer Hudson stayed throwing shade about it. Every time they ask her about it, so how do you feel about it? Well, all I know is the queen was very adamant that her film be on the big screen. Anything else isn't real or something like that. Rakia's heard the trend. So I just don't like the fact that you move like that. Like, to me, it's already an issue that British actors are getting more work more easily here. But then when that to me is such an obvious bite that I don't really support anything she does anymore.
Well, I never really did, based on those comments she made when she was younger.
What are the comments? I haven't heard the comments. I keep hearing about them.
She made comments in Facebook. Tweets. Basically mocking Black culture. So she was one of those type of she was one of those types. So she later apologized and said she was young, you know, and she's learned from that, but you know, we can tell by her actions that, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
But the way I feel about it with the British invasion, the Black British invasion, because if you listen to the comments that are being made by directors and producers saying, oh, they're so well spoken, they're so well trained, and they're cheaper. So here it is again. We have another generation where you have Black Americans that have made huge strides in breaking the barriers of inequality. And you have Black people from other countries that are basically reaping the benefits. for a cheaper price. And that's what I don't like. Unfortunately, the Black British actors are basically being used as pawns. So I don't really blame them per se in most cases. I don't blame the players. I hate the game. I blame the game. I blame the producers that are bringing them on because apparently clearly they don't understand the sensitivity of the roles that these people are playing. I mean, you have Martin Luther King.
Those roles.
You're having iconic roles basically being played by people that didn't have that experience, that had no ties to that experience.
Right.
It's almost like a slap in the face. Like, well, they're Black, right? What difference does it make? It makes a huge difference. It's called nuance. And for the greater machine of Hollywood not to notice that, it makes me not want to spend my dollar on it. And a lot of times I don't. I didn't go see Harriet.
I see you. Alicia and then Danny, once you're done, Mom.
Can we be upset that there are a lot of singers that are getting acting roles where they're
okay? Who are you talking about? Like Mary J.
Samuel Jackson, because Samuel Jackson had an issue with that with rappers. A lot of rappers were getting roles.
I don't.
Some of these folks talk.
My issue is that it's more prevalent in
different.
Black culture. That's my issue. Is that you don't see white people doing that. Like you ain't seen Britney Spears in the movie yet. Christina Aguilera did.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true because she did do a movie in early 2000s.
My point was
and it crashed and burned, and that's why you don't see it in her no more. That and she's that shit crazy.
That was a shocking movie.
You're right. Okay, I'll take that back. But I'm saying is,
there's a little bit of different. There's a little difference of nuance with that because there's always been singers that have dabbled into acting and vice versa. If going all the way back to Bing Crosby, he was a singer that did movies. That's just kind of how the genres align.
But also back then that was part of the deal. Like if you were in the business, you did it all.
Right.
Singer, dancer.
That's basically a little different nuance. What I'm talking about
and then you had to be a triple threat.
You have people coming from a whole different continent. You have people coming from the UK. They're basically the new exotic. They're coming over here. They're taking jobs from American actors because the notes that you're receiving from directors and producers is that they're cheaper. They're well trained.
What was Danny gonna say? Because I'm just interested in specifically because he's not Black. So
because I'm not Black. That's literally that's what I was gonna say. Hi, not Black person here, right? So my question is, where's our line? Because okay, so I hear there's a thing about Aretha Franklin and a specific actress that wanted. Okay, so Aretha Franklin, real person, we know who that person is. American person, got it. Okay, so all right, fictional person.
Nobody cares that Idris Elba was in that movie with Beyonce. Nobody cares.
So fictional person.
Some people do. I don't personally. There's some people that were mad that John Boyega got Star Wars.
What about Forrest Whitaker playing that whole dude in King of Scotland? Like that's a whole, or the Mandela movie played by I'm sorry.
Mandela was Idris Elba too.
And my question also.
You're right. I'm sorry.
My question also further goes through because you can't play like Black people in the UK are not also a marginalized people. They are right. So
it's a different.
I understand it's different. I understand that. So that's why my question about the line. So if we're saying, hey, Martin Luther King should not be played by a British person.
He shouldn't. That. His wife should not have been either.
I can get behind that.
Selma was bombed. Here's my thing. And
wait. Before you go on the tangent, I want to address what you're saying, Danny. Essentially, the issue is it's not reciprocal because we can't go over there and get jobs. It's not.
There ain't no job over there to get.
Their jobs. There are actual jobs.
Well, no.
The only person I know who went overseas and did some damage over there was Amber Riley, but she played Effie And she was the most popular black girl from one of the most popular television
for the most part, they don't want to go there. Why did you just say British actors are coming to America? Why? Because they're getting paid more, right?
It doesn't matter. It does matter because there's actors here who aren't getting paid at all.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. So wait.
Are they trying to get those roles? I'm asking the question. Are they trying to get those roles?
Yes. There's actors who are up for. Ain't no actor gonna turn down shit because we're starving. Ain't no actor gonna turn down shit.
So the agents are calling them and saying, "Hey, I got this role. You got to go to the UK right now. Fly in, do the audition." And they're saying, "Bet." That's what's happening.
I don't know that's happening, but I definitely know that they're not. Listen, I can tell you by the fact that I just said, the fact that Amber Riley got work over there. There's work over there. She was somebody who was already. Let me finish. She was somebody that was already making a lot of money. Was making a lot of money, and she went to the UK. So clearly the money was there. So it's not that they're not getting paid over there. It's not that there's no work. It's that we're not welcome.
Well, here's the thing with that. There is a lack of roles. That's the reason why they're coming over here. But the issue is that it's becoming where they're getting all of the roles. Like for example, Queen Slim, the main two characters that were in that movie, neither one of them were American. Both of them were British actors playing African American roles. So it's like, if you look at the cast, both of those names, neither one of them were from here.
Why does the black community do that to each other? Who cares?
Okay, but wait. Let me tell you why that is a big deal. Because with the black people, we have made strides and hard work and dedication, our previous generations, that have opened the doors. And unfortunately, a lot of these British actors are being used as pawns by the greater industry because they're cheaper. They don't talk back because they don't know any better. So that's not a
the system. Because
that's what I'm saying. That's my That's what I'm saying. But you didn't hear me. But wait, you didn't hear me not one time say anything bad about those British actors. I said my whole speech was towards about the industry as a whole, because it's the industry that is doing this.
My issue, and just because, like I said, no one is bad mouthing the actors except for me and her, that one actor. Well, because to me that was snakish. To me, like that was basically like I'm running for like you have no couth. you wait. This woman is dead now. You dishonor the dead woman who's the queen of fucking stuff. So to me, that's why I have an issue with her.
That's the production company that come out with the TV series.
It's both, because like I say, all money. Every person who is an actor who has buzz gets offered roles, and
it was gonna be someone else,
which is fine. But it shouldn't. My thing is, it shouldn't have been her because of her connection to Jennifer Hudson. One, for two, the fact that she's not American, and for three. Well, that's all those two. But my point is essentially like you don't have to accept the role.
Number three, did she really need the exposure because she's just coming off of Harriet? That's number three.
She didn't need that role. Yeah, there's that. She could have said no. Like, how many roles do you think Beyonce has said no to? How many roles do you think Angela Bassett has said no to? She said no to Storm. So I feel like you don't have to say yes.
Fun fact: the Aretha Franklin actually wasn't being vain when she wanted Halle Berry to play her. Her and Halle Berry are cousins.
So to
real life. Hey, I just wanted to lighten the mood.
All right.
Two points real quick. There's part one.
It's like the most tense conversation we had.
There is something very pervasive among Black Americans where they don't want to acknowledge the racism and the struggle that other people from the diaspora experience in the country they're from. That's just across the board. That's what I see on social media. Like, there's this idea that if someone is
you who had this conversation with,
okay,
was it you who had the conversation with about Black Americans being having privilege compared to other Black Americans? Was this you?
I don't think we had that conversation. I just think it's very we we pretend like other Black people in other countries have not experienced racism and different things, but they have. And guess what? Slavery existed in England and Europe too, and there are still vestiges of what was there.
Here's the issue, Tristan.
I'm not done. Let me finish.
I got it, Durier. Let him finish.
All I'm saying, here's the deal. I just think that as a whole, we need to, in general, acknowledge and be aware of that. Second thing, and this is specifically about the Aretha Franklin TV show versus the movie, and you're not gonna agree, and that's fine, but this is my opinion. Aretha Franklin's life story is if it's the real story, it is checkered hunty, checkered to the max. That movie ain't gonna be the checkered story. That's gonna be the one that Aretha Franklin wants people to know and tell, and that's fine. It's all well and good. I personally think that if you're an artist with a life that was as rich, and even if we leave the checkered stuff out, the life is so vast that to me it makes more sense to tell it in episodic television. Like for one personally, I would much rather watch a 10-episode biopic for someone who was in the industry.
That's all besides the point. You're talking about your personal wait. You're talking about your personal liking for us, but we're talking about British actors taking roles. So great, you prefer it be a series. That's beside the point.
Okay, but I think that's why I don't think they did the series.
That's fine.
I don't think it was despite Aretha Franklin. I think it was because it was a better storytelling vehicle for that story.
Your point is leaning toward why the series is being made, and that's not the topic. The topic is why Cynthia Erivo took the money. Why she should not have taken it.
Her and that girl ain't friends. Her and Jennifer Hudson is not BFF. They're not.
It's not BFF. It's about. To me, it's about professional courtesy.
So that means once I work with you, I have to. So
it's like okay, Beyonce comes out with. It's like this. It's professional courtesy. It's like this. Okay, so Rihanna comes out with S&M. What's that song? Disturbia. She comes out with Disturbia, and at the same time, so does Britney Spears. That's professional courtesy. But that's not cool.
I don't think you make moves in your professional life based on what other motherfuckers is doing.
I do. And I think the people who make those decisions, Beyonce's a great example of that. The fact that her solo album came out after Kelly and Michelle's, just so they can have that shine. It doesn't matter. My point is professional friends. Professional courtesy goes a very, very, very.
I wasn't friends with damn Beyonce. Stop playing.
This is what I'm saying. Anyway,
this is different than people who are not in a group together.
But let me.
The first point that you made. The first point, because I really had something to say, Mo. He said, "Let me finish." Go ahead, Mo.
Okay, so again, you're coming up to the defense of the actors when the point is not about the actors. I'll let you finish. Again, the point is these movie studios, because these movie studios are the ones that are using the Black British actors as pawns, because they say that, oh, they're so well spoken. Oh, they're so well educated. Like going to Yale isn't educated. Oh, they're so much cheaper. That's what it really boils down to. They don't have to worry about that American lip, because you have people that are coming up where they grew up on Denzel Washington. They grew up on Will Smith. They grew up on Halle Berry. So they're not going to put up with that same bullshit as opposed to these other British actors where they don't really have anybody other than, you want me to do what? For how much? I'll be right there. And this is not going against anything dealing with what they had to go through as being Black in Britain or being Black in Nigeria. It has nothing to do with that. What I'm saying is that these movie studios are using them as pawns, and that ain't right.
So I'm going to say something controversial again, and this is just my personal opinion. When I have had very negative experiences abroad with other people that were Black, very negative, because of the way that they view our culture. Yes. and which kind of go. I actually looked up what Cynthia Erivo said, which is basically what it is, that we're lazy, hood, trash, ghetto, all that kind of stuff. All we do is fuck.
Don't have culture.
We don't have all that stuff. But the issue is this:
she apologized.
It doesn't. It's not even just her. It's like that. That is. I'm not gonna say it's the opinion abroad, but I've encountered that opinion quite often. So it then gets frustrating but then you come here and play our roles, and then your music sounds like our music with a twist, and it's kind of the same thing we've been talking about all night. And I get that it's not like a cut and dry thing, but to me, when you have all these artists breaking, like when I say breaking, like breaking onto the scene. Like you have a Michael B. Jordan, and then the rest are in his circle, and Tessa Thompson. Everybody else is British. Daniel, Kaluuya, the guy, the other guy, Winston something. He's British too, isn't he? From Black Panther.
He's not British. Okay. He went to college. Like
gotcha, that's fine.
But none of those characters were American, so
right. You got Tandy Newton. You got motherfucking the Carmen, I cannot pronounce her last name, but starts with an E. You have a lot of them people over there, but in that group of people, you have very little, like this, Asian Naomi King. Why isn't she hugely popular right now? She's not getting the roles.
Agreed.
And she's an incredible actor, beautiful. But she's not getting the roles as much. And why? Why are the it people, the people on films, Oscars, why are they so often from overseas? So to me, I do think that it is something with that. There's this polished thing to saying this is from Britain. You know what I'm saying? This is exotic. This is more finely tuned. And then that pushes actors out. Because there are a crap ton of very, very good Black actors who just aren't getting the work. If you want to say anything about this, I want to move to another topic.
We've been kind of talking about a little diaspora, the Black diaspora issue throughout this, because like one of the things whenever I hear things about, particularly like with British actors, Black British actors, it's the idea that like Black Americans don't necessarily have a culture. But I see what you're saying, Duria, where like you're coming over here and playing our Black American icons. Like that is our culture.
It is our culture.
Like MLK, that's our culture. Aretha Franklin, that's our culture. Her playing Harriet Tubman, like that's our culture.
And I actually was a fan of that movie. I liked that movie. I thought it was a good movie. I was actually one of the people rooting for her, and then she turned around and did that Aretha Franklin. I was like, that's Snake to me.
I think like that's probably some of the main issues where I've seen with like the Black diaspora issues, like and not just from Europe, but like any like Black from another like a foreign country that's not specifically based in America, like you're kind of dealing with the idea of like we aren't like our like Black Americans do not have a culture where like that stereotype of like we're lazy and do this and that, but like there's so much of our culture that is popular that everybody else is making money off of.
Yeah.
But we don't have culture. Like we are the culture. What are you talking about?
If you notice, we always are asked. We always have the stereotype of being lazy when we ask for our worth. You notice that? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danny. Tristan, hold on. Let Danny speak.
I just two things. One on that point was, we got Candace Owens in America. There are people that believe and say these things, and so I think it's overgeneralizing to attribute that to like a broad sense of Europeans. Like, there's a lot of ignorance, but there's a lot of people that understand and know. The other thing I want to do real quick is read Kaluuya's statement on sort of this
yes.
Topic. So, he said, so this was, so Jackson was like, hey, how are you going to play this person? You don't even know, like you've had interracial relationships longer than we have, etc. And so Kaluuya said, the Brixton riots, the Tottenham Hand riots, the 2011 riots, because Black people in the UK are being killed by the police. That's what's happening in London. That's 2011. When it comes to experience of racial minorities, appearance is, to a significant extent, experience. A Klan member or a racist police officer won't ask a Black person for a passport. Are you an American Black person? Are you a British Black person? Any more than for a diploma or a bank book before launching an epithet or attack. he acknowledged as much in the same interview when he said, I resent that I have to prove that I'm Black.
I want to respond to that. So the issue isn't that we want you to prove that you're Black. We know you're Black. We're talking about the lack of work, that's the vacuum that's being created by putting these other actors in these positions. And it is about whiteness. Actors, like, that's what we're dancing around. It's about whiteness. I mean, when you're from Britain, like I said, it becomes finer tuned. It's prettier. It's nicer. It's neater. It's more trained. All the words that you said. Fix your face, girl. And at the end of the day, oh, please fix your face. I'm going to take him off the screen. Keep making them faces. Essentially, for me, I definitely think it is about whiteness. You have to think about it. There's the whiteness that can be attained, like the height of it. White Christian male, straight, right? And then anything that you can do to find yourself inching closer to that makes you better. And that also has to do with speech. That's why the way that I speak, was always told I sound like a white boy. So
well
when
spoken.
you take something from when you take something from Britain with a nice British accent, who's been classically trained and all this other stuff, I'm gonna respond to that. It sounds better. And I want to also preface it by saying this: I don't have a problem with British actors actually playing roles here. I have a problem with that creating a lack of work for American actors. And I want to say that one more time. It's not about them being here and getting work. It's about them taking roles from us. Or them filling roles that could have been filled by Black people. Like I said, if it was reciprocal and it didn't seem like such an overweighted thing on one side, it wouldn't bother me. Somebody in the comments asked if I feel the same about Lupita. I love Lupita. I have no problems with Lupita. But then again,
and she ain't been. Never mind. I'm sorry.
I don't really know, other than 12 Years as a Slave, which I will not watch. I only have seen her in, I haven't seen Us yet. I've only seen her in Black Panther. And I had no problem with that. I mean, isn't she she's Kenyan, right?
She's her background is Kenyan in Mexico.
Kenyan in Mexico. Yeah. So she had more right to be in Black Panther than anybody else to me. But because she's from Africa, or she's got at least that heritage. So to me, like I said, I don't have a problem. I'm never gonna hate on somebody eating. I'm just saying that
it sucks that it means other people ain't eating.
Yes, especially people here, because I know how difficult it is in this pool to get. She's Kenyan and Mexican. She said it in this one song. That's all I know. But okay, so I did want to move to another topic because
can I address this real quick?
Yeah.
Just real quick. Manacost.com. No, it's not racist if someone says you sound white. That does not hinder someone's ability to progress in the world. If someone says they sound white, nothing's working against them necessarily for that. So no, that I think you need to look up your definitions of racism. So just done. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Danny, one quick thing. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. But Samuel L. Jackson did follow up to those statements about Get Out. And he was saying that he had nothing against Daniel getting that role. He was just saying the overall system of Hollywood basically using these actors as pawns.
Yeah. I agree with that. And that's it's in a lot of industry. It's like, anytime that you're trying to be in a thing, like I said, I was a house DJ before, and there's value to the work you're doing. But when it's especially when the technology got better and made it easier to break in, you got kids, they're hungry and they're just like, you know what, I want to be doing the thing. And so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it for cheaper. And that just, and then promoters, producers, that bottom line is that dollar. I can get you or I can get you. It's the same at the end, but this one's cheaper.
It's the same at the end, but this one's cheaper.
My bad.
That was so important. You need to hear it twice.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move to Alicia. We're gonna go over, I think, tonight, but I don't care if y'all don't care.
Dinner.
Well, then, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask how you guys felt about the article about the Pixar movie Soul, about the issue about like a lot of
them taking Black characters and changing them into things that aren't people.
Yes, but I'm not going to ask about that no more.
Okay.
Because then we're about to get into this blackness thing again, and my heart can't take no more of that. So
okay,
I can't take.
Oh, you youngins.
I'm sure Mo will bring it right back up. Don't worry.
Oh, I got time.
So I was thinking of the year 2020 and how it just kind of feels like one big, I don't even know, because I can't even remember what was happening in January, February, March. Like I can't think of it as months, but I do think of it as like sections. Like the first part of the year, I remember the big headliners was about Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was like the first of the year. And then it was Tiger King. Tiger King was when
was April.
That was like
Come on, Caesar. Right? That was, Netflix. Come on, Caesar.
And Tiger King was like the era of when the pandemic was still light and airy and was like, oh, I could do this.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna stay at home. It'll be over in a few months.
Yeah, let's just binge watch. But then, so my question is, what other like big things kind of section off a part of the year for you?
To me, it was George Floyd. That was to me because the day he was murdered, before I found out that it happened, I saw that video of that woman in the park with that dog.
Oh yes, in New York.
And I just remember, I just had this feeling when that happened. I was like, the fact that they happened on the same day, I was like, things will never be the same, because it just exposed so much of like, y'all, they weaponize the police. We've been trying to tell y'all, like, they know what they're doing when they do, some of them, they know what they're doing when they do that kind of stuff. So for me, that chunk of time, and then all of the subsequent domino effects of everything that started happening after that. And I think we're still feeling a lot of the reverberations from that event. But yeah, that was definitely one for me.
I guess like
that was in May, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that was May.
Yeah. So that would be the next Tiger King to Floyd. Like that
something that started the summer for me would be George Floyd, but prior to that would be in Georgia, Ahmaud Arbery, which technically happened in like February.
Yeah, but it didn't come out.
It didn't come out until the summertime, like right before George Floyd, and so that's where things kind of started. Like that's how I separate the year now. I feel like
then it became the summer of protesting.
Yes.
Probably the next event would probably be the debates.
Oh my God, those debates.
So you went from Biden trying not to like punch the shit out of Trump. He was bare enough. I mean, just shut up. So the next debate you got Flygate, where you got Pence had a full fly on his head, and that it didn't move. That was just the creepy part. And also, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking now. I'm speaking now.
Listen.
Yeah, but wait. And also Trump catching COVID.
No, that is a whole part of,
and that is winter.
Oh my goodness.
That was fall.
Winter has come.
That was fall. It was like, baby, fall has happened.
Listen, that is funny.
Yeah. So there.
Danny, everybody go.
Oh,
Trump.
Wait.
No, we're supposed to be telling like what stuck out to you as a season this year.
What stuck out to me as a season?
Like a chunk of time where this was going on.
All of it. It's all been shit, and it all sticks out.
Yeah, there's good things that have happened this year. Like I Am Black is King. That was great.
Look, check it out, man. If you just feed me shit sandwiches all year long, every day, all year, but then like twice somewhere in the year, you gave me a ham and cheese sandwich, I ain't gonna be like, man, I had ham and cheese sandwiches this year.
Shit.
Nah, that's not what's
Your
happening.
ass ain't never been to jail.
I'm gonna be like, I'm tired of these shit sandwiches.
Oh, shit. You know what's crazy? You've never been to jail, but you've been in the military. So when you were in basic training, whenever that was, Did you? Oh, just a little
You
bit.
You can't ask me that because my like time has skewed my perception of what basic training was like.
I'm sure that
when I was there. I know that when I was there, like I hated life. But like there was a time about 10 years into my service where I was like, I could go to basic again.
Okay.
I don't know why, because I'm stupid or something. But like, so
no, that's not what I want to say. I just want to compare the two experiences. It's like I remember when I was in basic and we got our MREs one day. We had done this big course, got our MREs, and somebody found Skittles in their MRE. And it was like the mini pack. I'd never seen grown-ass men like about a packet of Skittles. You know what I'm saying? That's the ham sandwich. Like that's the ham sandwich. Like, yes, I would love that ham sandwich if I've been eating shit sandwiches all day.
It's not comparable because basic training had a point. There was a point to basic training. 2020, there's no fucking point.
We about to get deep.
Yes, no point.
But is there? Do we don't know?
What's the point? I mean, it's just
like, Sam, how do you know?
Shit. Okay, so I mean, are we supposed to like there's no okay, I go into basic training. So I could see maybe there is a point, but we don't know. I went into basic training knowing what the point.
That's a different thing.
Knowing what I was going for,
I agree.
why I was doing this.
Yes.
Why COVID happened? Mysterious plans or something. I don't know. And it just
I don't think it's like that.
I think that the universe brought in a national, a world catastrophe to expose a lot of these assholes on this planet of what they're doing.
But also, I think on the other side of it,
but it's been exposed to a level that they can't like play it off.
But I think it goes both ways, though, Danny. I think it goes both ways. I think it exposed some assholes, but I also think it exposed some titties. What I mean by that is the benefit, the good thing.
I'm halfway agreeing, Mo.
Was that analogy too much?
It went over my head. I'm not that deep, really.
I'm sorry. Like, the front end and the back end. The back end is bad. The front end. I was trying to make it happen.
I was gonna say, Mo, that I think that the atmosphere, the environment needed to refresh itself because we suck at keeping the environment clean. And just us being home and shut down for a while, the earth was like, oh, finally I can breathe. So I can see it that way. And Danny, what about the moments of when we got that first stimulus check? Is that not something that stands out? Is that
got it.
Is that not a DLT? Is that not
No. That's let them eat cake. That is 100% let them eat cake. These motherfuckers up in Congress fucking sending money, all kinds of money to all their fucking corporations and shit. And they're like, okay, Americans, we'll give you $2,000. Like $600. What is that? What is that going to get for you? That's going to pay like people are getting evicted in the thousands. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost their jobs. You're going to give them $600.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me explain. I said that in a very privileged tongue, and I need to correct that because I have not been financially affected by the pandemic. So when I said that came from a really privileged part, and I should have gave that disclaimer. But for someone who hasn't touched like that financially, getting that cute stimulus check was a major moment for me.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting that what was I about to say? Oh yes,
Sister Worker. Shout out to
Beyonce. Is this year really gave me a deeper appreciation of Beyonce because of everything that happened, like after the George Floyd stuff happened. I've already liked her; she's great, and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. I love the philanthropy of them. It's about the philanthropy. Like Beyonce right now is paying people's not mortgage, but their rent. She's doing this program where if she's gonna take applications. She can't do everybody. She's gonna take applications, find some people, pay their fucking. She probably could, but even still, like her doing that kind of stuff, her buying out the wing of that hospital for COVID patients, like, and not just her and those three. A lot of that's what I want to say. The celebrities that have come out and put actions behind their words.
Important question.
Right. I really enjoy. I don't even know my box.
Your Ivy Park box.
Oh, I did not get my box. Damn it. I take everything I said back. No, I'm just playing. But I I really enjoy the philanthropy that is coming from these celebrities that you're seeing, and I really enjoy celebrities saying what they want to say politically, because we don't necessarily want them to be their only role models for children, but they still are role models. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't be the only, but they are setting an example of how to be. And a lot of them are getting out here and they're being very vocal about not standing for racial injustice. They're putting money in people's accounts. They're sending people to colleges. They're doing all that kind of stuff. So for me, that's one of the things that stood out about this year was like how many folks stepped up to the plate.
Megan Stallion sent me some Bitcoin not too long ago. So.
She actually sent you some Bitcoin?
Sure did.
I always think she'd be playing, so I never put my name on the list.
I'm doing some Bitcoin.
All right, go ahead, Tristan.
Wait, so
also, just to kind of make it positive, because I think you look at some positive things too.
Was nothing I said positive?
No, I mean that is positive, but it's like when I say like celebrities are doing good things because they have to. Like people are struggling. If that's kind of anyway. Sorry. I think I've enjoyed what the pandemic has done for music in the sense that I think that it's forced creators to be a lot more creative with what they've had to do. Like I know Chloe and Halle have had their whole Chloe and Halle have done.
They recorded that album before the pandemic.
How are they going to get content out though?
Right, and all the performances they've done have been mad creative. Meg Thee Stallion, her performances have been super creative. Doja Cat, super creative, because the award shows and the different kind of talk show things aren't live anymore. They can do green screen. They can do a lot, things that you wouldn't normally do with like Meg Thee Stallion. She was on Jimmy Fallon and she didn't perform on the show because they don't have an audience. She did it at that Texas, that big,
they're doing that a lot.
The Texas rodeo, right? So it's just been really, at least for the ones who've stepped up. It's just been really cool to see them step up and kind of do really cool things. Some stuff has come out this year that I've loved immensely. Chris Brown dropped some stuff that I love. Chloe and Halle, Doja.
I haven't heard anything from Chris Brown. I gotta check that out.
Who?
I haven't heard any Chris Brown songs, so I gotta check it out.
He dropped this song with Jacquees called "Put In Work," and then that's amazing. He also dropped an album with Young Thug. I don't like
Jacquees. Is it Jacquees?
I say Jacquees. How is it pronounced?
I guess it's Jacquees.
Jacquees.
I say Jacquees. Okay. He has an album with Young Thug that came out. I don't know if the album came out this year, but they released all the singles and the videos this year. I don't like Young Thug. I really don't like Young Thug. But
now I like Young Thug until the other day. I saw a video of him saying he had more hits than Jay-Z.
And the crack was hitting. He must be.
When I watched the whole video, that's not what he was saying.
No,
he did say that. What he said he got about 30 songs that when he play them, everybody in the crowd know him. He was like, Jay-Z don't even got that. He said Jay-Z don't even got that. But then as soon as he said it, he thought about it and was like, but you know how the industry is. Like, once it's out there, it's out there.
He also ain't got 30 songs that folks know like that, but it's okay. Feel yourself.
Not like Jay-Z.
But wait, what's worse is when he tried to come after 3 Stacks with his comments.
Okay, and 3 Stacks showed him love, and that's the messed up part. 3 Stacks ain't one of these older rappers who be shitting on and hating on these young dudes. 3 Stacks, genuinely, from when I've read in interviews, anytime he's asked about a new artist, if he knows who they are, he always shows them love, and it's super the way you would imagine 3 Stacks to be.
Right. He basically shitted on 3 Stacks because 3 Stacks didn't kiss his ass like Elton John did when they were in talks of doing the song.
Elton
John loved black people. That's one thing.
Okay.
This might be a throwback for some of y'all, but when Jennifer Hudson got voted off American Idol, he went around.
But what quiet as it's kept, he is the epitome of blue-eyed soul. That's where he got his break from, was black people.
Right.
So, of course.
I was going to say and gay people, but I don't know if that was part of his act.
Well, he didn't come out until later on in his career.
Yeah.
Okay.
And back to Chloe and Halle though, they've done all their recent music videos in their backyard, and they're
music videos though. Those aren't music videos. The music video is when do it. That's a music video.
Performances.
They're performances. They're not music videos.
But
what's the difference?
So the difference to me is this: like Megan Thee Stallion recorded okay, when you go look at what she did for the BET Awards, that's a performance. That's not a music video. A music video to me is done differently. They're doing it as a performance. Like City Girls, when they did their performance of what's that song? They did anyway. All these are like BET Award performances that you're just filming without an audience. So Chloe and Halle did one music video this year. The rest of those were performances, and they generally
amazing.
Huh?
They were amazing.
They're amazing. My favorite thing from them, they have this acoustic version of one of their songs that to me is better than the original. The original, no. Yes. That acoustic version, it was like, if y'all don't get out my face singing
but again, the lines are being blurred because
videos inside of his house that he was on house arrest. Shot 4 videos.
Right.
They don't look like they were shot in the house though.
But the lines are blurred because then you got that, but you got Thundercat doing Dragon Ball Do-Rag, where it looks like he was basically doing. There's he's an underground artist, but he did a video where he hashtag that somebody knows. Thank you, Alex. Anyway,
about the cartoon. I was like, okay,
but I think that's one of his influences because the name of the song is Dragon Ball Do-Rag, and he basically talks about a do-rag. But the video looks like he basically filmed it with a dang on iPhone 12. But the point of it is that I think quality of the video doesn't necessarily mean that it's not
about the quality. It's about the objective. Those are performances. They're not music videos. They're not visuals.
But at the same time,
let me tell you why. The difference is this: when you have them doing the same song multiple times, these aren't music videos. They're performances. It's the same song. That's a performance. Like, I'm not gonna make 5 music videos for one song. I'm performing this song multiple times.
But I think
we've done more than one video for one song, the same exact song.
Little Nas X, but anyway.
Yeah. Danny, it was the same song, or was it like different mixes?
It was different mixes. It's
not the same song. They're singing these, and a lot of them they're happening with other songs. They're doing like they performed at the U.S. Open. It was a camera, the 2 of them microphones. They did about 4 songs. That's a mini concert. That's a performance. That's not a music video.
But at the same time,
that's another reason. Half the time they have microphones, boo.
Again, hold on. Again, some depending on the artist, they will push out that as a music video.
Which one are you talking about? Which one did Chloe and Halle do? That is my question. Because those are all. That's how we got there. To me, the Chloe and Halle stuff is them performing the song.
But I feel like for the Forgive Me one that they did was that like their visual for that song. And
no, because that wasn't even the actual version of the song. That was a performance.
I get that, but I think they were trying to find a different way to put out their content in this pandemic as another creative way of putting their songs out there.
It's not a visual because people have made visuals in the pandemic. WAP. That's a music video. That's not a performance.
I get
but that's a traditional video, though.
These are all not traditional because of the pandemic, but they're not movies. They're not
no.
They're not visuals that accompany these songs. They're a performance of this song.
Okay. Prime example, because I'm old. Black Cat. That was.
I don't even know what that is.
Janet Jackson, Black Cat. That was off of the album.
Right.
That was
Dirty Diana, Michael Jackson.
Dirty Diana, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Dirty Diana, Michael Jackson. That's a music video though, but you don't see him doing multiple versions of that. You don't see him putting out multiple versions of Dirty Diana. Like when she sings Forgive Me at the US Open and then sings Forgive Me at the freaking AMAs, and like that's a performance, bro. I know
actually, when music videos, they did have different versions. They have the live version where
that's not a music video, that's a performance.
Okay.
If that's the case, then every time an artist does a performance, it's a music video.
Oh my goodness. Okay, look. There's a definition for music video. A music video is a short film. Okay, short film. So it could be 10 seconds, it could be 10 minutes, whatever. Short film that integrates a song with imagery that is produced for promotional or artistic purposes. So a performance. So a thing like that's recorded, that's got like stuff going on, it can, and it's recorded and preserved, can be both a performance and a music video. Now, if we're getting into whether it was done as a performance versus as it was done because completely be a music video, then y'all can argue about that. But at the end of the day, if it's just someone on a stage, if it's just someone on stage singing, and there's not like anything other than just kind of a stage, I would just say that's a performance. If it's
me too, like
if it's they're in a special place doing it and they're like utilizing the background of what's going on and they've got some other things going on so they can create a full picture, then I would say that it is also a music video.
So in this situation, let's talk about the Forgive Me thing. This was an acoustic version of the song. This was pretty recently after, the pandemic had started. They're standing in front of two microphones. One of them has a guitar. They're singing into the microphones. The only camera angles are all from the front. And there's close and wide, and that's it. That to me is a performance. It's not a music video. A music video would have had images, not just. That's a recorded performance. But either way, this is a really ridiculous argument that we're having. The point is, Chloe and Holly are the shit, and they did some creative stuff while in pandemic, and they used that very well. Okay, so that's 3 people. We got more people. Who wants to go next? We got Ricky, Sam, or Dan.
I gotta.
Damn it, you have to go, Danny. It's fine.
Thank you, Kendra. That's exactly what I'm saying. Back in the day, they played a live acoustic show with some performances. They cut those performances into videos. Thank you. But that's all I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danny.
Thank you. So yeah. You can't believe my thing that kind of stuck out to me as a story. It's not a feel good thing at all, but it is a haha. We all knew this. You can't believe what Tucker Carlson tells you because Fox says that he is not actually, it's not facts. He's just entertainment.
Wait,
so Tucker Carlson, who came under fire for several comments. He's repeatedly saying racist shit and he's repeatedly saying anti-immigrant stuff. So he's one of those guys on Fox. And I mean, I will say also that like Sam Shepard, like the core anchor for Fox News, like went way off script in terms of like just basically calling out the rest of Fox and actually quit his contract like over the summer. And this kind of part of this whole thing too, because he was basically saying like, I don't feel like a journalist with integrity on Fox. Right. So, but yeah, so he basically was, he's literally fake news. He was talking about he was in trouble because like his comments about COVID could be taken as basically telling people it would endanger people, like actually endangering people and causing them to get sick, etc. So in court though, that his lawyer basically said, well, I mean, it's obvious he's not like telling literal factual truth. You can't take what he says as facts. And that was their defense, which I think held up, actually. So,
and yet,
yes. So I think that was kind of like a thing that like stuck out to me, and sadly, it sticks out to me because despite that, the only news that is actually in court been proven to be fake news, everybody is still on that shit. All the Fox people, they still are on that shit. On it.
The same Tucker Carlson, one of his producers got fired for making racial comments online as well. And as well as Fox News is not allowed in Canada as well as the UK because they have a law saying that if you're going to call yourself a news station or a news channel, you have to actually have actual freaking news. So since they don't have actual news, they're not allowed.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's.
This happened years ago because they tried to branch out to other countries, and unfortunately, Europe was like, no, we're not gonna play these games.
That is funny.
Isn't it technically considered entertainment news? Isn't Fox technically considered entertainment?
Entertainment news is still news.
Okay. So it's technically considered an entertainment channel, not news.
It's like because it's not news necessarily. It's news analysis, right? Like, so that's kind of where they go with it. But yeah, it's
But can we be surprised by their humble beginnings? I mean, Fox News started out basically a lot of the feckless people that were under the Nixon administration that didn't like Nixon getting ousted because they were like, you know what? If it wasn't for those dang folks in the media, that wouldn't have happened.
If it wasn't for people finding out that you did some shit,
right?
No one would have known you did some shit,
right?
You meddling kids in that darn dog.
The narrative, if we're able to control the narrative, we could have prevented Nixon from being ousted out of government.
How do you even know this, Mo? You're so full of knowledge.
Seriously, man, you're awesome.
I just, I read a lot of articles, come across a lot of documentaries, and I retain a lot of it because I'm nosy.
Valid.
So now you have a network where they're basically they're in a touchy position now because Fox News is scared of their loyal fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because their loyal fans are at a point that they're at the beck and call of Donald J. Trump?
Yeah.
Dump.
So yeah. So basically, whatever Trump
you don't
said,
remember our president's name. Don't do that.
I honestly had a brain fart. I did in that moment.
No, you didn't. He's still our president.
I honestly did have a brain fart. Normally, I just call him 45. So I honestly did have a brain fart. I wasn't even trying that in that moment. The point of it is that 30 to 35% of this country basically believes everything that comes out of that man's mouth. And Fox News is currently scared, right along with the Republican Party, because they know that's cute, Tristan. That's real cute.
I know how I feel about
those. They know that if this man says that we need to leave Fox News alone, they're going to lose all their viewership. So they're scared.
So,
since we're talking about Fox News, sorry, I had to change clothes real quick.
No, it's cool. I just want to do a check and see what everybody's time is like right now, because I'm not going anywhere. Tristan's going somewhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
So I'm about to be out in these COVID streets.
You better wear a mask.
I always wear a mask. Check my Insta story. I always have the mask on.
And also make sure you carry some hand sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
I do that as well. I have the little mini bottle that be on your keychain.
Go ahead and get you a can of Lysol spray and spray everybody down as you walk past.
Let's do Sam's her article.
Well, I mean, I think just things that in general have stood out to me this year is just finally, I do think that I have a unique perspective. I grew up different a little bit, and so I see a lot of things that I don't think a lot of, I guess, like mainstream white people see, maybe, if that makes sense. And so, like, the systematic racism and I know people that were murdered by the police, like, and this was in middle school and high school and shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's not something that, like, is new to me. It's something that I grew up seeing, and I just am so glad that this year, finally, white people, I think, are finally starting to acknowledge the fact that this is not a Black people's problem. This is an American problem. And I think that it shouldn't have to take that, but I think it does need to take that. Like, hey, this is not just, because it doesn't affect me, this is not my problem. You know what I'm saying? I feel like mainstream America has rallied for so many rights for so many different groups of people.
We're not laughing at you, Sam. I'm laughing at Tristan. Keep going.
Sorry, my dick was in the camera. I apologize.
Oh my God. Y'all know people hear these too. That's funny.
Right.
If they didn't watch, if they only were listening before, they're gonna be watching now. They're gonna be like, what? It's interesting to talk about.
I think that we finally, we're finally starting to realize like this is an American problem, and I mean, I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to be.
Right.
But I do think we are getting a lot closer than we've ever been before. So I like that.
I'm with you on that train. Go ahead, Alicia.
You sound very optimistic, and I like that. But I feel like this might just be, I hate to say it, I feel like this might be a fad because we had, nothing else. When I say we, I'm talking like fully we, America. We got nothing else to do but go boycott or go walk in a parade, or not parade. What am I trying to say, y'all? Help me out. Protest, not parade, Lord. We got nothing else to do but to repost and post. We at home. I really don't know if this is truly like this come to Jesus moment where we just about to change the world. I think when life gets back to fast pace, normalcy, is that the word?
Normalcy.
I don't know if it's gonna be like that, Sam, but we're gonna check back. We're gonna check back when.
I mean, and that is like true. That who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? I do agree that I am in some ways optimistic about all of that. But I do think that there are a lot of Americans that have finally woken up to what that really means to be Black in America.
Yeah.
And whether that's because we've had to because we're stuck in the house, or there's more cameras and there's more people, like there's more exposure of it. Like back in the day, there's always been a sordid history between the Black community and the police, and the Black community has been the one that felt it. And if you talk to someone outside of that community, that's crazy. The police would never do that. Like it was unfathomable that, right. And now everyone has a freaking camera in their pocket. And so it's like, okay, well, maybe it is that we're just sitting at home. And maybe it is.
Are you raising your hand, or are you just showing your camera phone?
He's just showing the camera because everybody has a camera in their pocket now. So I think it is like a combination of factors, and maybe I am being optimistic, but I do think that there is a conscience in America that has been awoken. I don't think it's like all inclusive. There are definitely people that are still very like
blinded.
It's not even that they don't understand. They literally do not want to see it.
They don't want to see
it. You know what's gonna make this not a fad? What's gonna make this not a fad is if white Americans continue to talk about it.
Because we're gonna talk about it because we don't have a choice. Right. Yeah.
Because Black Americans, it ain't but so much we can talk. Like we've been talking. But if we have the other side talking, it can be.
And that's what I'm saying. I think they finally are. I'm not saying it is everyone, but I think there is a consciousness of like white people that are finally like waking up to this. And it's not everyone, you know what I'm saying? But I do think it's enough of us that has started this kind of like new consciousness, and I think that's really important and necessary.
I'm gonna say that one thing though is like the issue is pride. This is because as a human being, especially if you're a powerful human being, meaning money, success, whatever, checking your ego is a constant thing. You can't stop checking it, because it's the moment you stop checking it, it then is back in control. So that means you have to always remember, oh, what I just said was racist. Even though you didn't mean to, like, and that's hard for people to constantly be on their own ass like that. Especially, it's also hard for them to get called out about it. So that's really what I think would be the factor that can make it consistent, is if people are ready to humble themselves and really do that self-inventory consistently. Mo?
Okay, so what I was gonna say, as far as Sam's point, was that, well, actually, based on Alicia's point, that you're absolutely right. It's gonna take white people transitioning themselves from being, well, I'm not racist. They're gonna have to transition themselves to being, I'm anti-racist. I'm not that guy that literally had dead eyes, hands in my pocket, having my knee on the back of this black man's neck for 8 minutes and 45 seconds.
Bye, Tristan.
So right, he had to go out there and find him a husband, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So positive thoughts, everyone. Make sure that everyone gives positive thoughts.
That he only finds what he's looking for.
Listen, right?
He still haven't found what he's looking for.
I really do hope Tristan get a man. Listen,
no, he didn't say he wanted a man. He said
no, he wanted a husband.
Yes, my bad.
There is a difference.
There is a difference, right? There's a difference.
You want the legal document.
That contract with the government.
Because jumping a room is still technically a husband.
I mean,
that's a show. That's an upcoming show.
What?
Marriage. Does it have to be?
I had a marriage episode. We can do it. We got to do a lot of marriage.
Yeah, couples. You had a couples episode. Yeah,
we talked. They were all married couples, and we talked about.
I'm talking about. No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, is it still important to get legally married in 2020?
We literally, that was the question was, is marriage still appealing? But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
We'll have another marriage episode. At this time, we won't have married couples, or we'll just have one. I don't know.
Yeah, we can talk about it from the singles perspective.
I'm divorced. I feel like that would be a great perspective.
I don't know how to. This is the thing about it. Like, I don't want to trigger anybody, and I think that's why I keep going back and forth on doing that topic. I'm a child, and also like I've never been married, so all I know is I'm a child of divorce.
Well,
so,
Julia, you trigger me every time you talk about British actors and actresses.
Really?
Yes.
Are you British?
Faith. Come on now, Faith.
I feel triggered because I feel like we as Black people are always trying to separate ourselves all the time.
We have had this conversation before, Alicia, didn't we?
And yes, but I'm not going there. But I'm talking about if you're trying to be like, you don't want to trigger some people, but you don't care about my feelings. That's all.
I didn't know that triggered you. I will not do that again. I'll try. I didn't bring up the British actors though.
I did.
I'm not trying to say that Black people. I'm not.
You'll be all right.
Listen, people as a whole, of course, need to come together. But I think there's also this other half of it. Like, I think Black people in this country, especially Black people in the South, from the South, we are taught to hide your head. That's part of our culture, to not say anything. And like now we're at this point, because if we do say something, we're an angry Black woman, we're an angry Black man. You know what I'm saying? So like the whole Real Housewives of Potomac thing, like when they got into a fight, which has happened on some of the white shows, the first thing they said was, "Oh no, we just embarrassed our race." But you don't hear white people saying that when they fight. So to me, I think in this country,
Teresa flipped the whole table.
Yeah, I think in this country,
Andy Cohen.
After slavery, Jim Crow, all that kind of stuff, that still reverberates. Those people are still alive, and they're teaching their children, how to mind, their manners, all that kind of stuff.
Respectability politics.
All that stuff. And it is really seeped into our culture, and it's something we want to admit, because we don't really want to admit that it's part of our culture to kind of like hang your head. But we're fighting out of that, and it's not easy to do. But that means that other people who are not from this country will absolutely come for us. We're not allowed to come for them, though. And if we do, we're criticized even more harshly. So we just have to stand there while they come for us sometimes. And I don't like that. But
especially the lazy comments, because it's like you don't know our story. And it's like there's a reason why we're saying no to these,
certain things. Right.
Certain things. Because we worked hard. We did everything that you said in the social contract. And you basically broke the social contract and you're in. And then you have a whole bunch of immigrants coming in. Yeah, they share my skin color, but they don't share the same story that I have within this diaspora.
But we're not going to backtrack.
I'm sorry.
I got to take off.
All right, Danny. Happy New Year, Danny.
Love talking to you. I enjoy sitting down with everybody and talking to you again and again. I think Alicia is the first time I've been on with you, but I've been on with everybody else. And this is great. I love it every time. See y'all later.
You're awesome, Danny.
Bye, Danny. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So to me, I think we only had one more person to go. That's you, Ricky.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I can't wait.
I'm
what
curious.
do you mean? No, I mean, like,
I can't wait.
I mean, there are many different things. So, like, one thing that I still find interesting would be the Olivia Jade, Aunt Becky's daughter. She was on the Red Table Talk recently. Okay, so if you guys don't remember, there was the big scandal. It was
okay. Yeah,
Lori Loughlin.
They paid her to get into college. They paid to get her into college.
But it wasn't even just paid for her to get into college. Like, they straight up lied and cheated, so it looked like she got in on merits, and she didn't at all. Like, they paid for someone to take pictures of her doing a sport that she did not do.
This was more involved than I thought.
No, it was fraud. It was fraud.
Right,
I thought it was just like here's a little cash.
No, it's not. And even then, that's still shady. Like, you give a donation and you get your kid into college. But no, they straight up created a story to make it look like she got in based on merit.
Very well thought out. I'm impressed.
Which means that's not the first time they've done that shit.
No, because she has an older sister that they did the exact same thing for. And
sure did.
What's her name?
Are they revoking her degree?
I don't
think she revoked her degree, but she left school.
She left school.
Her mom didn't want to go to school.
Right, that's the thing. Like, she wanted to be a YouTube influencer. Whatever. That's cool. But don't lie about it's already hard enough for folks to get into school. But her parents just completed their cute little 2 months in prison for it.
Cute.
And
listen, it's not cute little. I know. Look, I don't think. I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't think 2 months is a long time. It might not be a lot. But she was in a the issue I have more is what type of place she went to. Because to me, it's
you're a wealthy family, a wealthy white family. What kind of prison do you think you really going to?
I thought it was 21 days.
Just put her ass on house arrest. I don't feel like none of them should have had to do jail time. Now, I do have an issue with what happened to her versus what happened with. I don't feel like they should have had to do jail time for that shit.
I disagree.
That lady, the black lady who was homeless and just forged whatever, so her kid can get to a better school and got 5 years, right? That's the issue I had. I feel like the reason I say I don't feel like she should have gotten time because being in jail, being around people in there, you really do sit and be like, why the fuck are we here? Sometimes it's this is not who I thought I was going to be around. These people aren't what I thought they were going to be. The real hardened people are, they separate you. So when you look at a crime like this one, I think people wanted her to do jail time because of what happened to that black woman and reasons like that. I think when you really think about it, that's not really something I need you to go to jail for. Put that on house arrest. Make her pay a fine and do some community service.
But I need you to let that one mama out of prison. I need her to be out. That's the thing.
I don't think she should have gone to prison. I think. Okay, why do you disagree?
No, I disagree because the level of fraud that they did in order to do that, it was extensive.
I'm a mama, and I'm not saying that those rich white people should have did that for college. That is extensive. That's wrong. But that mom doing what she did to get her kid into basic education, primary, middle school. I'm a mom. I will lie about an address. That's my kid. You know what I'm saying? That's my kid, and I think that the celebrity people that took advantage of that, I think that's a different category. Because I think there are some people out here that just really don't have good access to education, and you doing whatever you can for your child. That's a mama thing. I don't know what mom would do that.
The only thing I think is crazy.
You going and doing all that extra shit, and your child's entitled and all that. That's a different story,
And your child already has the means to to succeed.
That's
in
my
education.
question. Like, why did they do this?
That was ego. That was ego.
Sorry, I retract that. Why? My thing about it is, did this girl, like, this woman, was she not able to get into college? Like,
well, now because grades now.
I guess for me, like, you can go to college in America. I'm sorry, you can get into college in America. You might not go to Yale and Harvard and Brown, but you can get into some pretty decent schools.
Okay, but in those social circles,
it's about prestige, and that's why. And that's why I think that's the part of it that really irks me. It's just like it's just so much privilege. It's just like privilege.
And then on top of that, it was the poor. It was basically they were basically committing fraud because they were being cheap. Because they could have easily spent the $3 to $5 million for the donation in order to get into that school.
They so could have. Get on that dean
because they were being cheap. They did some illegal shit. So since you did some illegal shit, you cut corners. You need to go to prison.
How much time do you think they should do?
I mean,
they should do prison time.
I think they should do some jail time, some misdemeanor time. But again, going back to your original point about that woman that got 5 years.
Don't skip the question. Then go to that. How long do you think?
Like I said, that should have been some misdemeanor time. So that's under a year. They should have got under a year. Okay. Yes, but they should have got some time because you know what, y'all committed fraud. Y'all committed fraud.
They were originally given 4 months.
Because whatchamacallit, you know, you have famous people that went to jail for fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You had hell, Martha Stewart went to jail for obstruction of justice. It wasn't insider trading, it was obstruction of justice. Let's be clear. She went to jail because she kept her mouth shut. So
I think that jail time and prison time should be for those who are help me with the words, guys.
It's a lot of things.
Are
perpetual, repeat,
no,
criminal.
They are violent. Yes, help me with this. Yes,
talking about. I get what you're saying. There's types of crimes. So there's victimless crimes, and then there's crimes that have a victim. Now, right now, the whole thing with her is they're debating whether this is a victimless crime. Like when you steal somebody's credit cards, that's the victim is the person's credit card, but they're saying, well, nobody was the victim here. Not necessarily true. There wasn't like a clear victim, but there was a general victim as far as the people who would have gotten her spot on merit who couldn't afford it that she took. So to me,
and not even just like you couldn't afford it, like you actually did the work and you didn't get in because because this person lied.
But going back to your original point from earlier that I was trying to get to is that the reason why that woman got 5 years, the woman that was homeless, they tried to make an example out of her because with education, that's how they exclude people. That was a way to exclude people because
racism.
Thank you. It's just another way.
Sam be killing me when she just pop her head in real quick and then come back out.
Honey, when she brought that all the way back to me.
Buttering the crabs. I'm
so you pre-butter them?
Yeah.
But here's my thing about it. It's like I don't think jail time is always the solution, because a lot of people, the more time you spend in jail, the more likely you're to go back, to be honest. And I think sometimes that's not like in jail. There's like the programs aren't always, and I'm talking about something else. But for these people, I feel like, first offenses, I don't think any of the people we're discussing should have done jail time. But if you were going to do jail time, I mean, 2 months in a Fed joint, that's not bad. I just don't think that they should. I don't think they should do.
I think they were given that time just to make it seem like they were giving them a slap on the wrist, because they out of the original sentence was 4 months.
Well, no, they gave her more time than everybody else because she wouldn't take a deal. Everybody else took a deal. The people who took that deal got 2 weeks. So Felicity Huffman only did 14 days.
Yeah, that too.
That's because she actually worked with them.
She pled guilty.
Yeah, yeah. The other ones, they tried to play hardball. They thought they were.
That's what I learned. Real quick, I didn't know that. If you ever, anybody out there, if you ever get to go to court and they offer you a deal, this is how it works. When they give you that deal, that's probably the best deal that they think that you should get, right? Because if you make them go to court and you're found guilty in court while denying your guilt, they punish you more harshly. Because they're saying, you have no remorse, you didn't learn. Like, okay, you got caught.
Time.
Right? And you have to pay the money.
Right.
You don't get a free attorney. You got to pay that money if you take a plea. So things you didn't know. But I think I don't like that system because I think it's used in order to bait people into accepting pleas when they're not guilty.
It absolutely is. It's about
because you scare them with this other, like, oh, but you can get this much time, and this is like, oh fuck, I don't want to do that. So let me not even risk it.
If I remember correctly, per the documentary 13th, 97% of the cases that are brought to criminal courts are pled out. So the majority
97?
of yes,
God,
yes,
that's 3%.
Yes, and notice how backed up those cases are.
Right, and especially when you have like overworked
defense attorneys.
Yeah, like public defense attorneys.
Yeah, the public defenders are overworked, underpaid.
Trying to get through their caseload.
Barely know the person's name. I mean, what's the Khalid Browder story? I mean, he's sat in jail for 3 years because he couldn't afford bail. Come to find out, the case was thrown out and he was innocent. And ended up committing suicide because he was in solitary confinement for the majority of the 3 years.
Was it Rikers? Yeah, he was in Rikers.
I heard about
this. Because I mean, what's okay? Solitary confinement is cruel and unusual punishment. It should be taken away per the 8th Amendment. But hey, prisons are as American as apple pie because they make money in this capitalist, racist, systematic society. So, what can you do?
Okay. Well, it is after 10 o'clock, and this is how I'm feeling. It's New Year's, so I'm probably going to be up for another hour and a half for sure. What y'all want to do?
I'm here.
I'm cooking.
We know, Sam. We know.
Right.
So let me play my little outro, and then we'll stay for the after show. I'm just going to play the outro so that people who watch on YouTube can know when this video ends. All right, everybody. We love you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know we made it. Okay, so we're gonna hang out and kick back, talk some shit, and bring in the New Year's together. And if y'all want to hang out with us, just stay for after the video.
Yeah.
Hey. You know what time it is. After show time. This is when we get
let's get it.
Oh, I kind of want to revisit some of our topics that we talked about. I'm really frustrated that y'all don't feel like Whitney Houston is the queen of pop.
I couldn't get with that. I couldn't get with
I don't like that.
See, like I wanted to say this earlier, but like I see where, because for Madonna, like strictly pop, I feel like Whitney Houston was able to transition between different not necessarily different genres, at least pop and R&B at least, but like Madonna is like
one genre.
That quintessential pop performer. She is. She's like the mother of Britney Spears. But like maybe not necessarily the best voice, but she can
I don't have a problem with her vocal ability.
But it's not even just the vocals. It's the whole package, the style, music videos, the stuff that she put out at the time that she did is
her timing. The timing of it all is very.
It was a bit groundbreaking for the time.
I agree with that.
But like even like Whitney was definitely pop, like especially when she came out. I think later in life. Right, I think later in life she was more R&B.
Yeah.
Slash gospel.
She got
for the previous
the gospel album. Like post Bodyguard, like even Bodyguard was was starting to hit.
Even one of her last albums when she had that line, Friday night, me and your boys went out to eat. Na, 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 na. You know that song?
Right.
That was
bad.
I guess that's R&B, but that album had some pop songs on it. But I guess that is more R&B. And I think of Heartbreak Hotel. Yeah.
That album right there was a bit of a mixture because she had some that were able to
in my love and
right. She was pulling a Chris Brown where Chris Brown is able to have a bunch of songs on the pop station and have songs on the R&B station. So like that one album was able to do what Chris Brown does.
But for me, what I want to normalize, let's normalize labeling Black artists as pop artists because DaBaby to me is a pop artist in the most respectful way I can mean that. You know what I'm saying?
There was some bop in it too. Yeah.
And what's her Megan Thee Stallion is a pop artist, so is Cardi B. And I know in hip hop they say that when you go pop, that's like an insult, but I don't think it's an insult. I think that means because especially nowadays, people who are getting into rap nowadays are getting into all sides of it, not just the club anthems, but they also listen to those really touching, hard-hitting pieces that like talk about the life and that talk about the struggles and all that kind of stuff like that. So I feel like we need to normalize it being a compliment when we tell a rapper that they're pop, if that makes any sense.
The problem with that is that hip hop is so based within urban.
Hip hop is the most popular genre of music on the planet.
It is, but it's a dichotomy because if you lose that urban edge, then you're no longer considered hip hop. When you're no longer considered hip hop, you're no longer popular. So that's a dichotomy.
Because not all hip hop is purely like that urban hip hop. Some of it is like straight up pop music.
Like everything Post Malone does.
Oh, you know what, Post Malone, he's a culture vulture to me any day of the week. I'm sorry. He started as a folk artist. So all of a sudden now he has a whole bunch of tattoos and he's singing like he got marbles in his mouth. I'm sorry, I just can't get with it.
Oh no.
I just can't get with it. Just like I can't get with Justin Timberlake back in the day. Britney Spears, the baby girl got bipolarism. That's why, everybody talking about how they feel sorry for her because her father and her lawyers basically run her life and won't let her stop taking drugs. Well, ma'am, if you stop taking your drugs, you're gonna go on another bender, and you're gonna shave your head, and you're gonna do some crazy things.
Everything you're saying, I disagree with.
And you're probably
right. Let me say something.
This is coming from somebody that has PTSD and depression.
It's just even worse than saying this because it's like
it's not. And so because she didn't have that, like, what's it called? What do addicts when they have that point of clarity? What is it called? Oh my God, I can't think right now. When.
Let me say something real quick. So,
all right, whatever. I lost the point. I'll come back to you.
That is, we need to normalize being considerate in their mental states. Like, we don't know what is going on with Britney and her doctors. We know what we hear in the blogs and the news. We don't know what that is. It's not even our right to know. Come on, Sam, I see you.
Oh well, no, they done put out a documentary there, and there's a whole movement talking about free Britney, and Britney's basically saying her interviews.
It sucks that she feels the way she feels and is in that predicament, but we can't say what's gonna happen when she doesn't or does take her meds. Like, we don't know.
Well, okay. Well, we don't know for sure that.
I just think that's something I have to clarify because those things are too often, like words like crazy and all that other stuff. They're too often, they're overly used, and a lot of times they are actually very damaging because they attach this negative connotation or this negative outlook on the person that those words are being cast upon. So when we call her,
I'm not saying that it's a negative connotation, but facts are facts.
You might not mean it that way, but that's why I say we have to be careful how we say it, because it can.
Okay, but facts are facts. If you have a history of mental illness and you stop taking your meds, there is a great chance that you'll have another medical episode if you stop taking your meds. And that's coming from medical professionals, and as well as from someone that has experience with.
I'm not saying that what you said is wrong. I'm saying we should be careful saying what will and won't happen to a person.
Okay, well, I won't say that it'll happen 100%, but I will say that there is a good chance of that happening. Hence the reason why they don't want her to stop.
Have you ever looked at any of her medical charts?
I forgot. What were you bringing Britney Spears up for anyway?
I was bringing them up because that whole category of culture vulturism, I'm just not a fan of any of it. Because basically, it's like
a culture vulture.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it comes down to what Stephanie Mills said a long time ago. Stephanie Mills said that popular music, they love R&B music. Unfortunately, they don't love Black people doing R&B music.
But that's why I'm saying we need to normalize it, because we need to allow the Nas X's. Like, I love whatever he's doing musically, because it's like so I don't know where to put it.
Oh, look at that.
What's happening?
Oh my God.
What are you doing, girl? Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Somebody happy for seafood, I see.
Yes,
I let him taste the butter sauce that I made for the crab.
Is that what you let him?
Okay. Yeah, you let him taste that butter, all right, girl. All right.
They were like, ooh. I was like,
I'll make some butter.
Can we talk about Congress about the vote to overturn the election on the 6th? Have y'all read that?
Oh, that 104 Republicans that are saying that they're willing to try for it.
They're going to the congressman is going to, what is it called when you push back?
Veto.
The validity of Trump winning in some of these states, and because he's calling it into question, that means it has to go to the House to be voted upon.
But here's the thing: it'll never. It has to also go through the Senate, and no senators are actually going to say anything.
My point is this: how the depths.
But wait,
that this man and these people will go to.
Before you get pissed off. The Congressional Black Caucus did the same thing in 2000 for the Gore election. So this is not
different.
It's different. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is that there's not any. This isn't unprecedented.
I'm not saying
it happened before. That's all I'm saying.
The issue is they want to bring up the Gore thing. They want to bring up the Gore thing, and it's like this: when Gore and Bush were contesting that election, it was a very close election. It literally came down to one state, a few thousand votes. That is not the same as this. This is like a clear win.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Still, I'm like, look, dude, I get it. It sucks to lose. I hate it too, especially when you've been talking shit. That's the worst time to lose. But at this point, I feel like everything he's doing is to create further tension amongst everybody. Wait. So it's essentially, it's like, okay, so the first thing is, I'm not going to help with transition. I'm not going to be a part of transitioning. That is like bananas to me. That's un-American in my opinion. And then the second half of that is, all right, these stimulus checks. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make myself look good by saying I want more money. But I really am not doing this for this. I'm doing it just to create friction. I don't feel like he vetoed that bill because it didn't have enough money. I think he did it to create friction. And chaos. That's what he does. So now he gets to create more chaos because now he gets to look like the good guy who, is doing this thing for these people, getting them their money, knowing the Republicans aren't going to sign no $2,000 over to the American people. Now we have no money. We went from 6 to 2 to 0.
I feel the same way. I feel like because all those Republicans voted for that $2,000, I feel like they voted because they knew Mitch McConnell, whatever the fuck his name was gonna do that bullshit. Yeah. So it was an easy way for them to be like, oh yeah, look at me, especially in Georgia, because Loeffler and Perdue both voted for it. So I feel like it was an easy way for them to be like, oh, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah,
but they knew this shit wasn't gonna matter. It was like a fake.
We still get the 600. We still get the 600. We still get the 600 because
he's still getting 600. They agreed upon
because Trump signed it
like an idiot.
Well, hey, but
that's what I'm saying. Like then he gave us the $600. So
yeah,
I think just like.
Because he was under the impression that you could lie and veto, but that's a thing a governor can do in certain states. That's not something the president can do. The point what I was trying to make, Duryea, is that I absolutely agree with what you're saying. You're on a moral stance. I absolutely agree. Unfortunately, on a legal stance, we don't have a leg to stand on because technically he doesn't have to transition. He doesn't have to do a peaceful transition. He doesn't have to. The Constitution does not say he has to do any of those things. It's basically etiquette as a president. And what we've known by this man ever since he has been in office, ever since January 20th, 2017, this man has been anything but presidential. So why is he going to start now, especially after he lost the race? This is just another thing. What I am praying, because if you remember, Bush team blamed the lack of transition time as the reason for 9/11. So what I am praying is that we don't have another terrorist attack within the next 2 years.
Well, with the pandemic, hopefully not.
Well, even still, because Al-Qaeda and them saying, "Hey, stay your asses home." But what I'm saying is that, no, I'm serious. They've had the CIA said is that they've had memos and phone calls to their people stating that there's a pandemic, stay home. But what I'm saying is that what I'm praying is that there's not another national security event that could have been prevented because Trump was an asshole. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm praying that, doesn't happen. Because bad enough, this whole pandemic thing has been a shit show from the top. So
I mean, like essentially, he disbanded an entire committee that's what
their whole job was.
Prep for this.
and it finally came time for them to act, and it's like, you're fired. No. And basically, a lot of the experts are saying that Biden is basically going to be starting 6 months to a year behind as far as this pandemic. So you're basically already starting with one arm.
That's my issue. Like everything you're doing, you're just doing it to make his job harder. So then you can say, "Oh, look! I told you he was going to be." And the bad thing about it is, there's the people like us, right? Even on the Republican side, there's people who know that this is what he's doing, but there's a lot of people who don't. The people who are on the conservative side who know, and they won't admit it. There's people who they won't admit it. But
I said, "Are you a butcher?" He said, "Yes," and I need your proof.
Come on, Sam.
Essentially, there's people out there who aren't going to see that that's what he's doing, and they're going to fall for it, and they're really going to. And I'm really tired of this political landscape of, we picked the better of two. I'm tired of that. I want to be like, I want the next election for us to be like so hype for both of these people. We literally don't know who we're gonna vote for because they're just so good. Like, wouldn't that be dope? If it's an issue.
No, because it's un-American. You know what it boils down to? It boils down to, do I want to get shot or do I want to get stabbed?
Where am I getting shot and where am I getting stabbed? That's the question.
Okay, all right, fine. Do I want to get stabbed in the leg or do I want to get shot in the leg? Which one?
Ooh, I don't want neither one of them.
Right, but you're gonna. But here's the thing: what I've learned from the old heads is that it's going to happen. So the question is, how do you want to control it? How do you want to control the narrative? Do you want to get shot in the leg or do you want to get stabbed in the leg? That is the whole purpose of this. Unfortunately, so
you don't feel like it'll ever get to...
we're never gonna get to a point.
This is why I disagree. I was looking at election maps. They were showing like the electoral colleges over the years, and we went back a few decades or a few election years and saw the entire map was red. The entire map, like everybody in the country was on the same accord. And to me, that is that to me is an amazing thing. The idea that it could happen. Granted, it was in the past. I don't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? But it's possible that we could get to a place where we all want the same things.
Before or after the voting rights act?
I don't know.
You might want to take a look at that.
I might want to take a look at that.
Yeah.
I might want to take a look at that. Either way, I get what you're saying.
That's the problem with nostalgia. You forget about the other murky bad parts that happened prior to those times. Like Make America Great Again. Yeah. Make America Great Again to what? Are we talking about voting rights act?
Did he ever answer like when he was talking about?
Of course not. He never does. It's all about the big language. It's never about the explanation. He's an ideas guy. He's never about
when did America stop being great? Is my thing.
When was America ever great?
Yeah, that's the thing.
The day of my birth.
Oh yeah, this bag before I put it in.
Look at all the season.
Yes, honey. The potato and the sausage and the garlic.
How's you're doing it in a bag? I've always seen that boiled.
Okay, so honestly, the best way is in a bag. If you don't know about the bag method for crab, you're missing out.
Really?
That's what they do at a lot of the restaurants.
My thing is you about to eat real heavy at like 11 o'clock. That's my thing.
I was thinking that.
Okay, look,
I'm not about to judge.
I'm not.
I want to come in. Oh, we got the crab and then we got the fillet too to go with it.
But you got steak too. She got steak, crab, sausage, potato. That's heavy.
I don't care. Look, it's New Year's Eve. We eating
New Year's,
good.
girl. Yes.
I need some meat on these bones.
Yep.
About to go. Are y'all hanging out? I'm gonna go get something. All right, I'll be back.
Night, Faith.
Happy New
Year.
Happy New Year.
I'd be struggling.
Oh, it's okay.
I understand.
8 more weeks, Lord. 8 more weeks.
Ooh, yes.
Oh my God.
I'm excited. I want to see all the pictures.
That's not long at all.
Did I send you some of my pics though?
No.
Okay, I'll send you some. I can't post them on Facebook because it's a little bit more revealing than my mother would like.
I think I saw like one. No, like the little nice little pregnancy belly photos.
Oh no, I got some pics for you. I'll send it. I don't mind sharing. I don't put it on social media because my mom will have a heart attack.
I understand, girl.
Girl, my pregnancy pictures, I didn't care. I was like, I got a belly, I was naked, and I had fun at the shoot.
Period, poo.
Right.
But it was nice. It was like she used real film and she developed some of the pictures in like black and let me show y'all. Look, actually, I can show y'all one of the pictures. I had it framed, but but my ex-husband was really controlling and abusive, and he hated it. But I didn't give a shit. I had it framed.
There you go. Hey.
Bring it closer.
Come through.
Ooh, I like that.
I wish there was a way for me to show without it being like live.
Oh my!
Is there a way in the chat?
No, you can't do it. Just send it to me. Text me.
Oh my!
All right, y'all. I'm about to finish cooking. But I enjoy you guys tonight.
All
right. Good night. Happy New Year, Sam.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Is it just us? Just us?
It's just 2 of us now.
Just the 2 of us.
I know. Well, Dre should be back in a little bit.
All right. Well, we can keep talking.
Hey, you're like out of the frame a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, what happened was I'm putting, since everybody want to start cooking, I figured I might as well put in my Uber Eats order.
Look,
put somebody to work.
I was up cleaning like most of the day, so like I had a big. I had to stop myself to go get something to eat and then come back, and I was probably around like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Just because I've been actually did cleaning. Cleaning's hard to do right now. I can't focus long enough to clean.
Yeah, it's just been a lot going on. I understand. I just understand. So I mean, hell, I've been using cleaning service, so I get it.
Ooh, when my money's right, I'm gonna do that because I hate cleaning.
Well, I had to do some strange things, so some change. But we're not gonna really go there.
You got at least $10 tonight, didn't you?
Yeah. Bring in the new year.
There you go. You're supposed to have a wallet full of money for some
Hey, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. So there's that. I've just been very thankful that I made it, being an essential worker, going out there on the roads.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, being around people that don't even really believe that this pandemic exists. I think that's probably the scariest part because I'm going in these places, something simple as a truck stop. And a lot of the folks that are walking in there, they don't want to wear a mask. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. Okay, so we just had to deal with the issue of, I was really surprised with my school district. They, like today, they just said that we're starting off all virtual for like the first like week or so. And normally like they would tell us like they would probably tell us last minute. I would expect for them to tell us like January 5th, we go back on the 6th. So like that's the thing. So, I get that parents are a fan of that. Like I'm a parent with kids in the system too, but like at the same time, I'm like, it's like the hospital beds in the hospitals here are full. Our ICUs are full. Like I have my sister-in-law is like a nurse admin, and like I remember her saying like the beds are full. So when somebody gets out, they got somebody in there. It's full, and like they're deferring people to other places now, and we're a pretty big county. But like parents that are just super ugly about it, like, oh, this is just teachers wanting to stay home and have a longer break. I'm sorry, have you ever created a course a virtual course for an elementary school child to help to manage? No.
A course?
Well, I mean, so like you have a learning management system. Like if you remember in college, like towards the end of your time, like it was like for Blackboard for us, where like if you took an online class, you had all your stuff on this one thing, this one system, where you do your post, your test, or whatever. So they have that for public school K through 12, and like thinking about like our system for K through 5, it's the same one. Like, but unless you're middle school, high school, you really didn't have to use it. 5th grade maybe, but like. Thinking about trying to create a course
around that, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Right. But like I teach pre-K.
On the fly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like I teach pre-K. The learning management system that we have, I just happen to have some experience with it just from me playing around with it long prior to us going into the pandemic. But like a lot of my colleagues, you don't normally have to use any of that stuff. You're not going to use that stuff for like pre-K through 2nd grade.
Right.
The kids aren't that computer savvy. Right. Yes, they can play a game, figure out your phone a little bit, but they're not that tech savvy as you think they are.
Well, some of them be making in-game purchases and stuff like that around that age.
Yeah.
But doing something.
But the way that you have to create a course online that is manageable for you, manageable for your student to navigate, and then because they're already younger, like my pre-K babies, my course is essentially for the parents. Like I gotta make sure that like because of the fact that all those adults are dealing with having to be in a pandemic and have to help with their kids' education, like more so than normal. Like I have to make sure that it's easy for my parents to navigate through.
Right.
So like I have to really consider like how I want things to look. There's so much stuff to be done on the front end. Like there's not any understanding of what we have to be done, what we have to do to get done,
or consideration.
Right. And then like people already don't have like respect for educators anyway. You're talking about like we have paid vacations. We don't have paid vacations. My 190 days worth of working, more than at least 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. My salary is spread out over 12 months.
Right.
I'm not getting paid for the summer. I'm getting paid for the work that I did during the school year.
Right. Your salary. Right.
My salary. And my district, unlike many other districts in the state, furloughed us at least 5 days. So I'm getting less money than I should have been getting because I should have gotten a pay bump this year. Number one.
Really?
Yes. The state of Georgia, the state of Georgia said that we did not have to do furloughs. That was the talk earlier, like before school started. Like they might have to
laying off.
So furlough days are just like unpaid. We don't go to work. We don't unpaid days. So like what would have been part of our 190 days of work of contracted work, they took out 5 of those days. Therefore, we don't get those 5 days of payment.
Okay.
5 days that's the money for those 5 days.
Okay.
And then like you have all these surrounding districts where they're giving their folks bonuses, but I'm getting furloughed, and then I got to deal with parents thinking that I'm trying to stay home longer. No, I don't want to teach at home. I'd rather have my kids in class. But I also know, but I also know if a kid like someone who, because I had COVID like right before Christmas break, is if someone gets sick and someone tests positive, an entire class is going to be out for 2 weeks.
Right.
So one way or the other, you're going to be out. Would you rather us do it where we're doing it as a precautionary thing, or would you just rather it happen out of the blue because someone got sick?
Right.
And the entire class is quarantined for 2 weeks.
That's too much like right.
Look.
It's funny because somebody asked me the other day if I believe in defunding the police. And it's not, I don't think I do. I do believe in rearranging some of our tax dollars and where they're spent. Specifically, like not taking money from policemen and giving them to teachers, but taking money from things like a tank. Like, why do we have a tank? Like, we have a whole military. Like, we have a whole army and a navy and a marine. Like, our police don't.
That is defunding the police.
Right, right. Because the
term is, I think it's the worst term for it because.
Well, would you prefer reallocate the police?
But no, that's the catchy term.
You're saying defund, which means to take away funds, the police, not the department, not police equipment. I'm saying like demilitarization of the police sounds different than defund the police, because then the first thing you think is, well, why? They're still doing something that puts their lives at risk. No one's going to support that. I think we talked about this last show. Somebody was saying
we did. Yeah,
and
it's not catchy. It's not catchy. Demilitarize
the police.
Reallocate. It's not catchy.
Defund the police.
On both ends. But on both ends.
Is the goal to be catchy, or is the goal to?
But here's the thing. You're talking about an activist slogan. That's not a slogan from the Democratic Party. The defund the police is from Black Lives Matter.
Right.
They're not.
But I'm talking about like pro or con, like for or against defund the police. Like it. You could be off. You can be for it and you understand it. Like if you're for it, you understand. Defund the police might mean demilitarizing, putting some of those funds into other community organizations that could better assist the police or take on those jobs that the police shouldn't be doing anyway. Or you could think of defund the police on the against side, thinking, oh, we want to cut their budget in half and
yes,
pay these people.
Yeah, I mean, it's still cutting the budgets.
Yeah.
We should do it. Damn, I forgot that quick. You said
well, why are you thinking of that? Here's the thing: people criticize Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have critiques regardless of what you put as your slogan.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
But this is the thing about Black Lives Matter. There's the movement, and then there's the organization. And some people say that they are the same.
They're not.
I personally don't think they're the same. But I think the issue with Black Lives Matters becomes that it gets conflated with a lot of things. And so then people get to nitpick and cherry pick. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that's not anything new.
The basic principle of it is Black people are not given the same respect and their lives aren't valued the way other people's lives are valued. That's the basic principle. But in order to deny that, they attack all these other things that are attached to it. Well, the founder is this, and instead of just admitting, hey, yes, that is a necessary movement, and then there's proof of it everywhere.
That's like with one of the original founders of the Black Panther movement, or the
Fred Hampton.
Yes, or the founder of Kwanzaa. Like there may be there's some problematic things, but it doesn't mean that what the things that they're known for, like Black Panther movement, they were necessary. They are necessary. They were doing work in the community that wasn't being done. Kwanzaa itself is an uplifting holiday, but you still have problematic people that are a part of it.
Wait, help me with that. I get the Black Panther thing. Help me with the problematic Black Panther people.
Oh, the Hoteps?
Yeah.
Not Black Panther, I'm sorry. The problematic
yeah. The wasn't the founder, like he was charged with sexual assault?
What?
Wasn't that right?
I didn't hear that. I know he was a doctor.
The sad part you got me on that one. I hadn't heard of that one, but
right.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah. Yeah, but go ahead.
Looking it up.
So,
he was convicted of felony assault and false imprisonment.
Oh, that's a little bit worse.
I mean, okay, his last name.
Just ruin our heroes right before the new year.
I'm sorry, but like I feel like but there's still people that acknowledge that, but still separate, still can celebrate Kwanzaa because of the message.
Right, because you get the point. That's what I get frustrated with when I talk to people about Black Lives Matter. It's like, you get the point. I know you get the point. If you don't get the point, you're just not either wanting to, or you just don't have the mental capacity. But you get the point. Most of y'all get the point. So why deny it? Why argue with it? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about a lot of other stuff. But everybody's gone, but it's so sad because I really want to say, like, this year has been, I'm on the Sam train. Like, I think like her, like, I think this year exposed a lot of positive things too. A lot of positive things. Like, you got to see the worst sides of some people, but you also have to see the best sides of a lot of things that I think we take for granted.
I can see that, but I also think we've seen a lot of performative.
Okay. Like who?
A lot more with like corporations and the industry, entertainment industry. Yeah, like, well, any of them, like anything like business wise, like those major corporations, especially during the summer where like you're starting to see the protests, like they put up their Black Lives Matter hashtag or did their black profile shot, but then like they don't address the issues that they've had in their policy
in their own company.
Right. And as well as, not to mention, giving money to the Republican campaign.
Right. Like yes, you can, like, I get it. Cool. You said this, but you're going to have to address this part right here. And what are you doing differently for it? Because this is clearly problematic.
Mm-hmm. How do y'all feel? I'm sorry.
And you saying Black Lives Matter and doing the hashtag and whatever means.
Oh, and gay pride and all that.
Really means squantos to me, because you're saying a lot of words, but your actions are different.
So how do y'all feel about Black conservatives?
Oh, it's a con game. It's a scam. There's a lot of. Candace is a scam.
Well, to me, Candace is not just a Black conservative. She's a Black, like it's a right is right. She's like all the way over there.
She's a scam. Like she knows there's like she's what's her name? What's it? Silk and whatever.
Diamond and Silk.
They're
those are the two ladies that was campaigning on Trump's behalf that had the very ethnic hairstyles and very ethnic looks, and we're basically
named Diamond and Silk.
Yeah, and
they're trying to reach that.
They had fun fact. They had a show on Fox News and they got fired.
Yes, they did.
Because they were making false statements about the correlation of 5G and COVID. You can do that when you're Donald Trump. You can't do that as a Fox News correspondent on their online shows. That's because that's a liability.
But you know how they like to tout like these black characters.
Caricatures.
Yes.
Characters.
But like it's not for black people. It's for the white people to feel better about whatever it is they believe.
We're not racist. She
thinks what it is.
But also like we all know that all skin folk get kin folk.
I hate that phrase.
But it's true though.
I hate that phrase.
It's true though. But like
they're kin folk. Let's say why what is like Candace Owens for everything that she does and that I disagree with. First of all, it's all right as Americans to do what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't believe, for whatever reason, that she should publicly support certain things, and she feels like she can publicly say and do, and she can. Now, me as a person, I have my opinion about it. Like I went back and forth on her a lot. I think I'm landing on how I feel about her because I don't like to make
it's a scam.
I don't like to make my how I characterize people by what other people tell me, you know. But she's very much a provocateur. Is that a word? She's that. And so I'm like, I'm sure it's bringing her money or something, but I feel like we need to create a space for Black conservatives because I think there's also conservative liberalism. I think it exists. I think there's a lot of places because somebody told me the other night that like I was a liberal, and I was like, why am I liberal? And it's like, oh, you're a Black and you're gay. And I'm like, I know Black and gay dudes that are super conservative. You know what I'm saying? But that isn't, so these things aren't mutually exclusive.
Right. There was someone that I follow on Twitter. It's like you do something conservatively, but you do something else liberally. Like it's the comedy of the two. Like maybe like financially conservative, or I don't remember what it was. I have to look it up. But like
that's the most common, I think. Being financially conservative and socially liberal.
Right. So I don't know, but
here's the thing. What I don't like about Candace Owens.
Are you looking up something?
Yes, I did. I had to look it up. 2007, while she was a 17-year-old senior in high school, Owens said she received 3 racist death threat voicemail messages totaling 2 minutes. They were traced to a call which the 14-year-old son of the then mayor and future governor, Daniel Mallory, was present. Joshua Star City's superintendent of schools listened to the voicemail messages, said that they were horrendous. Owens' family sued the Board of Education and federal court, alleging that the city did not protect her rights, resulting in a $37,500 settlement. Also, added caveat, she used NAACP for help in order to get that damn settlement. So,
but then how she tells that story now is way different because her telling the story now is like she blames the NAACP for making it about race.
But it was
like what? She blames the problem because I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast. And basically she was on there and he asked her, how did you end up feeling this way about, politics and stuff like that? And she told that story. And I was like, this sounds like a story that would make you like not behave the way you behave.
Right.
But the spin of it was that somehow her, in hindsight, the issue she had most with was with the NAACP.
And on top of that, earlier in her career, she used to be anti-conservative. She used to have a blog called Degree 180.
So you think it's for money?
Hell yes, I'm telling you, it's a scam. She is a scam. It's not like it's Michael Steele, where he's a lifelong Republican.
Right.
He was the head of the Republican RNC. Right. I mean, the Republican National Committee. It's not like she was Condoleezza Rice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a difference. And with Candace Owens is a scammer. You know, and kudos to her for making her money.
Right.
Let's call a spade. Honey, you are scamming the children, and you know, let's call it out for what it is. Now, the irony of all of this going on with the Republican Party, the Republicans, they were actually doing good in the 2000s. They were actually getting a lot of more of the black vote because
you're the one who taught me that black people are actually conservative.
Oh, absolutely.
I never would. If you didn't say that to me, because for me, I grew up around like my type of black people who are like artists.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So being
black
around
people
black artists,
black people by nature are very conservative.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily believe in states' rights because, you know, we have a history with states, but they do believe in small government. And also, we're more centered around religion. If you look
and family, the traditional
family.
Traditional masculine roles, feminine roles, like
exactly.
That to me, I was like, of course. Yeah. But you don't think that, like, being around a bunch of people who are so accepting of other lifestyles, you forget that that's not.
Yeah. If you look back in the 2000s, 2004 presidential race, one of the major wedge issues that they used was marriage equality. They put a lot of the definition of marriage on a lot of ballots in the states, like in California, and also in, if I remember correctly, in Maryland. So basically, you had states from coast to coast where they've put it on the ballot, and you've had a lot of ministers and pastors that were coming out against marriage equality, saying marriage should only be between a man and a woman. Now, what they did talk about was that they had a sweetheart deal with the Bush administration, where they were actually getting more money from a nonprofit status of being a church. So basically, they were getting a seat at the table right along with the evangelicals. They didn't talk about that.
They didn't tell you that.
They didn't tell you that part.
They didn't tell you that part.
And they were, and then they was like, well, all you got to do is just, speak the word of God and let them know that marriage is between a man and a woman. And they bet hook, line, and sinker. You saw Bishop Eddie Long downtown Atlanta, having his protests, saying marriage should be between a man and a woman. Too bad 2 years later, you found out
some more respectability politics.
But honestly, at least
what?
At least, to me, it's like this. At least, oh Lord, what can I say? At least it's a reason. It doesn't make it better, but I would rather that. This is going to sound crazy. I would rather that you are speaking this stuff because you're getting paid than because you actually are a hateful piece of shit. Like, is that weird?
Actually, also in some of those cases,
I would much rather that, like, because if I know you're doing it because you're getting paid, I'm like, get paid. But then if you I think it's because I can wrap my mind around that a lot easier than I can wrap my mind around, like, why are you taking your time out of your day to go and fuck these people's lives up? Like, why? Like, there's so many other things you could be doing, and this is what you're doing. It's like, oh, because it's getting you money. That makes sense. But other than I just wanted to be here I don't get that. That kind of behavior doesn't make sense to me.
But this is a capitalist society, so that's basically what it boils down to anyway, is the mighty dollar anyway.
So would you do it?
Huh?
If somebody gave you a good amount of money, would you become a Candace Owens?
I don't know. I would think I wouldn't. I think I would.
You think you would when you see them zeros on that check?
Like, it depends on how bad it's doing.
The problem would be is that they will have an issue trying to screw up my social media output. I don't put out so much gay stuff during the year.
You're just like, it just wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't work, honey. It just wouldn't work.
But hey,
you know what?
No, I take that back. You can do a boot.
Actually, I take that back because I can just easily say that, you know, Jesus just came to me one night.
People have said it. People have done that.
And he just changed my life.
Oh no, not the tears.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry about this, but because do you know how many stories there are on Facebook of masculine identifying women that were, you know, that identified as lesbian women, that all of a sudden they have these videos now talking about that I've been changed by Jesus, that I'm no longer gay, and I'm no longer just like a guy, and Jesus did it for me.
I don't like women's no more.
Like, I love men's.
Well, I'm no shade to anybody, but one of my exes is 1,000% married to a woman, and I believe that they feel that the time that we spent together was like a phase, something that they grew out of. And I don't really argue that because, you know, I'm not in this person's brain, and they're still a good human being, and they're only positive, you know what I'm saying? So I would never even go back and forth with them about that. But it did, for me, it was interesting just because that's the only situation like that I've ever encountered. I've heard a lot of girls say, okay, one of my favorite people on the planet, Candy. Candy's very open about the fact that she's enjoys, you know, not enjoys, but that she dibbles and dabbles in the lady pond. That's what they call it, the lady pond.
Tapped in the lady pond.
And I'm sure her and Todd have a very, you know, fruitful sex life. However, she doesn't make it seem like she wants to, you know, but that's a sexual thing. It's not like a romantic thing. And I think I know a lot of people like that. Like, it's like, oh, sexually I'm interested in this, but romantically I'm not. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
it was just such a drastic change that I didn't know really how to grasp it. It's just a thing.
It's a nuanced thing to me because on one end, yes, you have Kinsey, you know, the Kinsey studies, where basically said that, you know, sexuality and gender identity is more of a bell curve as opposed to an either or. Get all that, got it. And so people have certain tendencies. Get it, got it. My issue is that when you're trying to bring Jesus in, and it's like, the anointing knows the anointing. So let's just say that, number one. And number two, I think you have certain artists also that make comments, and it's like, come on, sis. Like, what's his name? We fall down, we got up. He made the comment about being delivered, but he says it's like being delivered from diabetes. That you still have the craving. It doesn't stop you from having the cravings for sugar.
Oh,
and it's like
he was delivered, meaning that he
got delivered from homosexuality.
But if you're still attracted, that's what homosexuality is. Isn't that's what gets me about these niggas, because they feel like I hate when people say, "Oh, homosexuality is a choice." To me, whenever a straight dude says that to me, I feel like they're telling me that they.
Well, if it's such a choice, well, you know, go suck another guy's penis.
And to me, I'm just like, I don't get it. It's like, okay, so if you feel like it's so him saying that gives those people ammunition.
And it again, this is one of those situations of when you're in that system, in this case, the church, in order to maneuver, you know, it's normalized that you have to make these type of statements in order to be successful. And unfortunately, the side effect of that, it causes you are considered a role model or a positivity model, depending on who you talk to these young people, and you basically screwing up these kids' minds.
Well, they don't see it like that. Like, when it comes to the way people attack homosexuality, it's always that way. It's always mental manipulation. Look at conversion therapy. That's what that is. The worst version of it. You know what I mean? Are you frozen? Oh, she's frozen.
Uh-oh.
That's funny. I was like, that face. I was like, why is she still making that face? Okay, let's see.
She frozen.
She'll come back.
Ooh, I might not though.
Oh, really? Well,
I mean, I can stay for a little bit longer. Like, I would have had all the cleaning that I did. Like, I had to get my comforter out of the dryer because I made sure to wash all the sheets and the comforters.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can call it. It's a good time. So I thought we were gonna hang out till New Year's to the 6 o'clock out. To the 6 o'clock hour till the midnight. However, that's not happening apparently. I want to say thank you to Ricky for being an awesome PA and making sure the show runs well. I want to say thank you to everyone who's watching. If you watch this on YouTube later and you actually chose to watch the after show version, then I'm glad you made it this far. I love you guys. Hopefully in the year 2001, you'll be able to see some filmed content from
2021.
2021. We also have some ideas about some other projects that we want to bring to you all. So stay tuned for that. Happy New Year. Much love, respect. Remember, Talk It Out is a place where people of opposing views can get together and have a healthy and productive dialogue in a respectful way. Keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.